Empty chairs at empty tables. Now my friends are dead and gone. No, it's a joke, you see, because there are 2 seats, because there's actually more than one of me on this fine evening. Oh, and oh my God, an arm is appearing as if from nowhere. What's going on? Is it just a Friday stream? Or is it something more than that?
We need a bottle opener.
My dear friends, thinkers, and gamers, do you really not know where it is? That totally ruins the vibe of this.
Oh my God, now it does it.
Okay, I'm confident you can find it. It's by the fridge.
I'll find it.
Let me welcome you back to Tales of Praxis. For those of you who don't know what we're all about as we're getting ready, and I'll let you know why this is a bit of a fun and different stream in a wonderful way, kicking off a slightly different spirit of the holiday season. I'm Aaron Suduko. I'm the founder of withtheterriblefate.com, your first and final source for all literary studies and celebrations of video games, our favorite medium for such explorations. You can tell we're really innovative and insightful in terms of our studies because we have finally innovated multiplication of the self in the way that's very tried and true within JRPGs. Now, finally, I have split and manifested into 2 forms. We have Aaron and whom do we have here?
Aaron.
Oh, Aaron and Aaron. We're going to have to think of another name for you, though. That's going to be confusing very fast.
We'll go with Matt.
I was going to go with Ash, but Matt works also.
Jesus.
It's an in-joke that you don't understand. Yes, the answer to your question is yes, Pottery. For those who need more background, this is my dear friend and colleague, longtime friend and longtime analyst on With the Terrible Fate, Dr. Matt McGill. I was trying to remember, were you a doctor the last time we were hanging out on the stream? Had you been doctorated yet?
I think I had defended, but I hadn't actually received the degree.
Okay, so he was like a quasi-doctor last time.
Now a real doctor.
Now he's a real doctor.
Yeah.
Not a real MD. So if I keel
I'm the
over on the
uncool
stream, we might be
doctor.
screwed. But yes.
I prescribe alcohol.
Okay, error number 1 and error number 2. There you
Okay.
go. So
Which
we're
one's
getting
number
some
1
kind
then?
of distinction.
I
Yes,
guess,
we can both be error number 1.
based on that message, I think you're Aaron number 1.
Matt has, as is the case for every analyst on With the Terrible Fate, a wonderfully specific and refreshing perspective in terms of how he thinks about games. I encourage you, if you haven't looked at his work, to check it out on With the Terrible Fate. Your bio is outdated like most of them. I think it still says you're like a major in undergrad. So
That's probably true. I think I wrote it like sophomore year of college.
the studies are not outdated, though. I think your very first work was this really cool publication on the horror game Soma. If
Yeah,
you've never
Soma.
played it before, please play it. You spoke all about sort of the way in which real scientific understanding of the brain can inform how we think about its sci-fi, which is still really cool to think about today.
We got to present that at PAX.
That's
we did,
right,
that
yeah.
with BioShock Infinite.
That's
Did you
right,
use
yeah.
that?
We were thinking about the intersection of real science and science fiction.
Yep.
So I did philosophy of quantum physics with BioShock Infinite, and you talked about neuro with Soma. That's right.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I think the other one that I would point to, especially just looking at you, Grail, hanging out with us, and Matt, for your benefit, these are our newfound regulars and ardent supporters.
yeah.
We call them the Praxis gamers. Some others may or may not trickle in, but Pottery Breaking or Pottery and Grail Z5 or Grail are the mainstays and the diehards and the Tales experts. But Grail is also a big fighting game fan, and I've told him many times that my only point of access to that has been Melee through you. And I remember you also published that article a while ago all about the mental game of like hardcore Melee competitors, which was really interesting to me.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
I do. We got to interview. That was oh my God, that was 6 years ago. But
Was
I
it
got to-
really 6 years? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that was my first year of grad school when I first moved. But yeah,
The truest fighting game. There you go. See, you're among friends.
Oh, hell yeah. No, we got to interview some. They were like, at the time, I mean, they're a bit old now. They're old school.
Okay.
It was SFAT and Shroomed, who were like top 10, top 15 at the time. So, it was
So
like-
now they're
like
retro.
a-
Does that make us retro?
Yes. It makes
no.
me
Oh
old.
no.
I watch
we're
Smash.
old men.
I watch Smash now, and I don't. I try to keep up with it, but I realized like when I was a sophomore or junior in college and I was really getting into it that I could like keep up with the scene, but now I'm just so old. The only special Melee is scary. It's like you have to love it and you have to have started early. It's intimidating.
My favorite story to rag Matt about in college, I'm sure you immediately know what I'm going to say, is there was this one weekend where for months he had been trying to get me to go out with him to his hometown of Natick, which is, if you're familiar with the Boston area, Natick is in like California relative to anything in the Boston
Natick's
area.
amazing.
And so finally I said, okay, Matt, I'll go with you to Natick. We'll go visit your hometown. And like every mode of transportation was broken or down. Like buses were going hither and thither. It took hours to get there. And then the monster at the end of the book was a Melee tournament that you wanted to participate in. And I don't think to this day I've seen such a dedicated and hardcore group of gamers anywhere, including at PAX.
And that's the local scene too, because you really get that like sense of intensity and grit sometimes when you go there, when it's like a small local scene like New England has or Massachusetts, because it was at the mall. Game Underground, who sometimes comes to PAX.
That's right.
They're the ones that have all the retro game sales.
Oh,
where
yes.
I got my Dark Souls copy that I
There you
finally
go.
played through.
Well, and this was one thing that I was going to ask you about too, in the spirit of celebrating the many diverse perspectives we try to bring through with the Terrible Fate. So, regulars to Tales of Praxis will also know that I just finished submitting some graduate school applications this week. So if my brain is extra fried, that's why. But you'll also know that Matt visited a few months ago when we were working through Dawn of the New World, and that was your first point of access
We
to
got
the
some
Tales
crazy
series.
stuff happening.
We had
there.
some fun adventures, and I'm excited to drop you into Tales of Graces in a similar spirit. But as you said, you've been working on some gaming adventures of your own in the intervening time. So highlights? I know you've been thinking a lot about Dark Souls.
I've been thinking a lot about Dark Souls. Yeah, that's been my primary game. I'd always like kind of watched from afar or saw you play, and I finally kind of wanted, like, I don't know. You made me play Dark Souls 2 the last time I visited, and it was just so much pain.
And you still haven't forgiven me for
And
it.
I haven't. And then, but I had that copy of Dark Souls 1, and I wanted to take like a foray into it again. It was very rewarding.
Yeah.
Like that's. I've never been so obsessed with games.
So I know you've been thinking about a number of dimensions of it, and of course, as is typical of the Dark Souls player, you rolled right into New Game Plus, and we also happy to share that just before the stream, truly, as I was setting everything up and sweating and diligently preparing for this fine adventure we're going to have together, Matt was on the couch trying Bloodborne for the first time, so he's falling down the Miyazaki rabbit hole as one does.
And I was killing it.
He really was, like, truly in that first section. If you know, when it comes to Bloodborne, like the barrier to entry is that first section, and it took Matt maybe 30 minutes to achieve what it took me 3 hours to do back in the day. So take that for what you will. But as you're falling down that rabbit hole and you're thinking about your time in Dark Souls, are there any particular moments that you've been dwelling on or experiences that really surprised you, especially given like the reputation of the games as you had understood them?
Yeah, I mean, well, the most interesting part that you and I were talking about earlier today that I really liked, well, so when obviously the game's been around for a while, so I kind of knew a little bit of what to expect. And the ruins, the New Lando ruins was
that's
like
right,
a super highlight of the game for me, and I think for a lot of people it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like there is these like game breaking moments and moments of like high stress, but also I don't know. I never felt as immersed in the game as I did in that moment when you lower the water and you go down and all of a sudden like shit hits the fan. I don't know. It did for me. I felt countered. But like I don't know. Yeah, like it was moments like that also when I felt like game mechanics were getting turned on their head. That kind of made me reflect on the game a little bit more and actually like try to understand what is happening in the story, because it was just the area was so weird to me. So I like kind of tried to understand. I mean, like, I know the bare bones of Dark Souls and I know what you've written on it, but yeah, I don't know, like that was a highlight of the game for me.
Yeah, I think
personally.
Pottery is making your point here, saying that for many people, what you call a highlight is in fact a low light, right up there with Blighttown. Because you suffered in Blighttown, so
hated
that's
Blighttown.
interesting. Like, what was the difference for you between Blighttown and the New Londo ruins?
I think it was probably based on when I went into that part. Blighttown, you hit pretty early on, so when the dread hits, it hits hard, and you're just
Dread's
like,
good
this
word.
game is impossible, and I
Yeah.
hate it so much.
Yeah.
And it makes the game like really intimidating. Well, because screw you, man. Like when I first played, you made me. You're like,
It's nice to see you too.
You're like, Matt, you have the master key. Go through on the other side of Blighttown. So I did.
Right.
But it's still so hard. So then when I actually progress through the game, like mildly as intended, and you go through the depths and kind of progress through, it was a little bit more handleable. But it's, I don't know. But then you get to the I did the New Londo ruins pretty late. So it doesn't feel as insane that you have to kind of do it all in one go. But I mean, the reason why I really liked it is because, I think as you noticed when I was playing Bloodborne, I play a game of patience.
Yes.
I had to learn to be very patient. I'm a very impatient person. We talked about Melee, and I have zero patience in that game. That area completely forces you to play the game very differently because you have to take the transient curses and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it makes you have to, I can't just like explore and like take things really slowly, check on my progress, rest somewhere. You have to play that area very, very differently, and it put a new kind of stress, but also a new kind of perspective. Like, why is it built that way?
Yeah, I mean, we have to be careful because we could easily turn this into a 3-hour Dark Souls discussion, which, I mean, that would be horrible, wouldn't it? But it is kind of cool to think about it in that light of, even with the transient curses, like, what is the difference between something like the New Londo ruins and even like a mini game, right? Because it kind of introduces its own rules nested within Dark Souls,
which is really cool.
Way.
It's cool when games do that. But yeah, the moment when you get to the bottom of Blighttown, you're just like, guess I'm gonna be poisoned. Now I have to do a boss while poisoned. That's a moment where that's a Dark Souls moment. So.
Grail, I'm going to put this to you because I see your message and I raise you the fact that I have known Matt for like the better part of a decade now, and now eventually this year he has caved and played Dark Souls. So stick around long enough, and maybe you just might want to play it.
Stick around for a decade.
It's contagious. I think I need to get a bottle opener for us. So.
Oh wait, no.
I'm gonna. Oh, did you get it?
I brought my keys.
Perfect. All right.
I
So
always come prepared
Well,
with my house keys and my bottle.
So then I was going to ask you to do this anyway, but I was going to put you on the spot while I wasn't even here because that would have been hilarious and sadistic. But
Do it.
since you have been a guest on With the Terrible Fate stream, and specifically on the Tales of Praxis series within it before, I want to ask you, can you explain to the viewers, and for those who might not know, what's Tales of Praxis all about? What are we doing here?
No, don't make me do this. I made you do it in 5 minutes, and I started a timer, and you took like 20.
No, I'm not asking you about the particulars of the plot. Just what's the overall conceit of the series? What am I doing here?
What
are we up to?
It is a RPG game.
Okay.
And maybe he's going to the villain arc. Yes.
This is a very light villain arc.
I don't.
Soft core JRPG antagonist right here.
All I know is that there is a kid who kept talking to himself because, like, this was May, and my brain was mush, and I was trying to find a job, so I apologize.
Matt's trying to make sense of Dawn of the New World, which is, you're making the task harder than I wanted it to be for you. But it's true. We need to remember, as my mind is melted just from applications, Matt's was melted exponentially by actually having been through 6 years of the grad school nonsense I am electing to try to do.
There was like a kid who was like two-faced, and he...
Yes. That's a good memory.
And
yeah,
he
it's
like
a good memory.
was like...
He was and he wasn't. Yeah, he was sort
like
of two
Yu-Gi-Oh.
people. That is a good comparison. He's like Yu-Gi-Oh.
And he had like the most awkward dialogue with that one like female protagonist.
That's right. Who actually voices a character in this game too.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
This was
Where
the next
is
year.
this in the timeline compared to the last one?
So it's a completely different world.
Okay.
That's one of the things that is fun about what we're working on right now, Tales of Graces, is that where some games in the series are connected in the same world to each other, this one is very isolated. It's concerned with its own world. It addresses things in a way that's somewhat different than the other games. But in terms of the timeline of development, like I think I was telling you earlier, it was actually just a year after Dawn of the New Worlds. They were both on the Wii. And so while there might not immediately seem to be similarities, when you excavate it, I think even coming back into it with that being your only point of entry, you'll probably notice some familiar things in interesting ways.
I remember very like intense and scripted cutscenes.
Yes.
Being a major. Well, like it was cool because it was it's slightly different form of media than I'm used to for like an RPG. Where
Yes.
it's like not. I don't know. I haven't played a game personally where like it's slightly breaking me out of the game to like watch something.
Yeah.
I remember that being kind of unique from when we played.
And I think that multimedia aspect of the series is a big part of what is interesting to me and has drawn me to explore it in this way.
I like.
Look, I'm not going to argue with what Grail is saying. That's
like
a pretty
Grail's
apt
point.
explanation.
Taking the pressure off.
Honestly, what I'm up to here, actually, at a high level, is pretty similar to the experience I know that you had with and following Pikmin 4. Because what I really decided to do when I started this Tales of Praxis series of written articles on withtheterriblefate.com and these streams, always book clubs, sometimes amazing guest conversations, is just to revisit this series of games, Bandai Namco's Tales JRPGs, that were sort of in the way that Pikmin was to you growing up, like really formative for me in thinking about games and storytelling and philosophy, and which, like Pikmin, has continued to iterate over the years. Although, Pikmin, you have 4 games here. We're working with like between 15 and 20 games, depending on how you count.
The lore might be a little bit deeper.
Well, it depends on what you mean by lore, right?
That's
I mean,
true.
I'm not going to discount Olimar and all of his hijinks that he gets up to on. But does the planet have a name? Are they the same planet? Is it different planets? I don't know Pikmin.
I think it ends up being the same planet.
Okay. But see, there's an interesting lore question there, even, it sounds like.
I like a challenge. Okay.
It's possible, Pottery. And he's going to be here on Monday, too, so we have some time to work through this. Yes, so what I've been trying to do through sort of a similarly multimedia experience, because I think it's right and informative to say that JRPGs in general are concerned with multimedia, because oftentimes, like, when you don't have a lot of experience with JRPGs, like something like what we're going to be playing, or a Final Fantasy or a Kingdom Hearts, a lot of people will, from the outside, complain that, there's gameplay that can be interesting, but then it's bogged down by all these cutscenes and all this stuff that doesn't have a lot to do with it, which is certainly one way to think about it. But I feel like to me and to the people who are really inside the medium, part of what makes it interesting and rewarding is the whole that is greater than the sum of its parts, with all of those different activities and modes of involvement. It's true. Grail raises a great point, and that's one of the things that is fun about the way in which we've been engaging the series, is that on the face of it, it's like each of these games is its own self-contained story and world, but it's one of those really thoughtful and interesting series where if you play through them one right after the other and engage in conversation thinking about them, rather than just picking up each one when it comes out every few years, you can really start to see the points of similarity and thematic resonance, and even points of symbolic likeness between the games to try to understand what it is that they're wrestling with, the themes that they're concerned with, are reading into the games and also applying to our life beyond the games. So that's the long and the short of what we're into in this adventure.
Hell yeah.
All right.
I'm ready to dive in.
Good. All right. Well, then, if you're ready to dive in, that's right. There's always an embodied dragon. There's always a lighthouse. There's always
I was
a
going to
feral.
say, it's probably, there's thematic, similarities between the games. And that's...
There are, remarkably so. And that's one of the things that has been really rewarding to me, this idea that even having played a lot of these games before, when you have the recent background of exactly what questions the games are trying to answer and how they do it, you attend to things in each of the games differently, and you notice things that are really interesting, and I think substantive and textually grounded, that otherwise you wouldn't know to pay attention to. Shout out to you, Pottery, in terms of the conversation we were having last week in terms of how do you decide what is salient and what is not salient in a cutscene, right? In terms of like, if I'm trying to read a metaphor into this, like,
Sure.
Does everything matter? Should we only be attending to certain things? How do we make sense of that? And oftentimes when we have the immediate background of other games from the series, that can give us not the decisive way into it, but a really rewarding way to interpret it.
What's something that wouldn't be salient from a cutscene as an example?
So, for instance, supposing that you're not concerned with color theory, what's the color of the clothing of the characters or something like that.
Okay.
Right? Which, of course, we could then decide to interpret, but you could imagine a mode of interpretation that would leave that on the cutting room floor as not relevant to what it is that you're thinking about.
I see what you mean.
Like that,
it can go
right?
as small details or something bigger.
Something like the layout of the room might be seen to be incidental rather than
I didn't even think about
informative.
setting. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep.
Cool.
But certainly not an easy question to answer, exactly to your point. Chrissy, welcome. All right, we're getting a little bit of a quorum as we're setting off here. This is the fun bit of the adventure where, like I did with Dawn of the New World, but hopefully in a more succinct and interesting way, I'm going to try to synopsize over 60 hours
Yeah, you're
of
at
playtime
62 hours.
in a few minutes. Grail has also been guiding us through some of the content that we're going to be working on in some of these side quests, which is going to be fun. And Grail, so as I give a synopsis of this, please feel free to front load the chat with what it is that you think we should do, so we can go on sort of a guided adventure. I think that'll be great for making sure we don't miss things. That's one of the things that's fun about these older school JRPGs, is that there are so many things to do in terms of side quests, and many of them only present at certain moments in the story, so you can miss them very easily. So we're trying to do everything.
Who is friend?
Who's friend, who's foe? That's basically it. Padre, as a reminder to you, it was a question that arose when we were thinking about the distribution of Sophie's particles across Asbel and Hubert and Sharia, which is already dumping us into a little bit of the sci-fi. But we're going to try to keep things on a very surface level, and I'm sure as we go through these side quests, a lot of other relevant details will crop up, so we can talk about it when we do. And honestly, even if you've been following the stream and the adventure, I think it's nice to do these sorts of reviews and synopses, because especially after 60 hours, it can be easy to, you can lose the forest for the trees in an interesting sort of way. So I think what's cool, and we were talking about this in preparation for you coming to visit, is that this game at bottom, I do think, is in an interesting way simpler than a lot of other Tales stories, and especially Dawn of the New World, in the spirit of what you were talking about. What's cool about its structure is that you sort of have, without the time travel element, a time skip that is similar in scope to what you get in Ocarina of Time. You start out in a childhood arc where all of the characters are roughly 10 or 11 years old, and then after a traumatic incident, you jump ahead 7 years basically to see how they're coping with it, right? So in childhood, we meet Asbel, who's the son of this lord in a particular kingdom. There are three main kingdoms in the world. One is a monarchy, one is a democracy, and one is sort of like a Soviet Union style, like fascistic republic. So we start out in the monarchy. Asbel is the son of this lord. His brother, who is not in line to inherit the lordship, is Hubert. They're friends with the what?
I like Hubert. He looks cool.
We like Hubert, yeah. We like all these characters. They're great characters. Sharia is their childhood friend and the daughter, actually, of one of the servants of the Lord, the kind of butler type, and she has been crushing on Asbel since time immemorial. So they're all friends, and then this interesting, inciting incident happens where they basically stray beyond town and discover this girl, Sophie, who has kind of manifested on a hill outside town. Like, she appears in a bed of flowers with kind of no explanation and no memory. Doesn't really know what she's there to do.
This is post-time skip?
No.
Oh,
This is all in childhood.
Okay.
So she appears, they become friends. She doesn't really know how to be a person or anything, so they kind of educate her on the world through becoming friends with her, and they even give her the name Sophie, all right? Then the monarchy actually comes to town, and the prince who is in line to become king visits them. His name is Richard, and he's very afraid. There you go. You'll get the real dish on these characters from the chat, I'm sure. Richard sort of keeps his walls up around everyone because there are people who are out to kill him. There are expectations on him as the prince who's going to become king, but Asbel and friends basically very quickly break down those walls to befriend him as well. And so kind of the formative experience that happens in their childhood is that Asbel and Sophie and Richard, not pictured here, make this friendship pact. So they carve their names on a tree and it's like, we're going to be friends forever, all that good stuff, right? Then, basically, to make a long story short, as they are exploring together in these catacombs where they're not supposed to be, they run across this horrible dark force that has manifested inexplicably in a way that they do not understand, and that immediately sort of robs them of their childhood innocence and safety.
This is the traumatic event that you're talking about.
So picture this kind of giant, only semi-human monster that appears and just totally messes them up. It seems to have some weird undue influence on Richard, which is not clear at the time. And Sophie kind of turns into sort of like a sort of Japanese style, like robot hero, like Robot Boy. Is that the thing? What am I thinking of?
Boy.
Is that what I'm thinking of, chat? There's some anime that I haven't watched that's very specific in terms of like a robot fighter. No, it's not Robot Boy, it's something else. Anyway, someone will probably know what I'm thinking about. Astro Boy, thank you. Yeah, like an Astro Boy type.
I see.
Gets these powers seemingly out of nowhere to stand up, protect everyone,
Sophie
save them.
does?
Yeah, Sophie,
okay.
that's right. And then she kind of disappears. And then we get this time skip, right? And we see basically how everyone has been coping with that trauma. Hubert was basically sent away and traded to another country by his father for reasons unclear. Yep. So he was adopted by a family in the democracy and has become this kind of military leader. Asbel tries to be a knight and sort of refuse the lordship because he doesn't like his dad and the way he's been treated by his dad. Malik is Asbel's teacher who trains him as a knight. And Sharia is the one who has basically stayed at home in Lant and has tried to help the community, be a healer, support them, be this kind of maternal figure to the people who have been good for her. Yeah, in exchange for plot reasons and also future considerations. That's right. And so what kind of brings them back together is there are these unclear things that are happening in the world and unclear forces that have led the sort of fascistic regime in that third kingdom to encroach upon Lant, and so the lordship that Asbel is the son of, and so they're brought back there. Asbel's dad has died, it turns out, defending this the lordship, and so Asbel has to cope with the death of his dad. Everyone's brought back together, and mysteriously at this point, Sophie reappears, right?
Classic.
And so it's not clear why that happens, but they befriend her. They're not sure if she's the same Sophie or not. Yeah, you are the only sports fan, Pottery, but that's okay. We can make jokes out of your joke. Are you a sports fan?
I like Boston sports.
But you nominally like Boston sports as like a Boston
I watch
fan.
a lot of hockey.
Okay, well there you go. So maybe you would have gotten the trading joke. All right, I'm trying to think of other key plot points. Along the way,
where does the Soviet Union come in here?
It's the third kingdom, so there's this democracy, and there's the monarchy of Windor, and then there's this third nation that is in a very cold area. So it's like very kind of explicitly modeled after the USSR, and it's also like we later learn their
ruins are cool.
Their energy sources are dwindling, and so they're kind of like they're encroaching on other territories in order to try to get resources to feed their people and support their own industry and things like that. So that's sort of where they come in.
Okay.
But so they meet again and are reacquainted with Richard, the prince, who at this point is kind of his authority in Windor, the monarchy, has been usurped by his uncle, and he needs their help to get it back. So that's kind of how he's brought back into their lives. And along the way, they also run into this wacky researcher I'm sure you'll get to know and love, Pascal, who it turns out is the descendants of this group of ancient engineers who basically wanted to understand and implement like all of the technology that undergirds the world. And then I
like that battle is in all caps.
what they ultimately learn basically is that Richard has been slowly going insane because that mysterious dark force from the traumatic incident basically took possession of his body and is inside of him. So as you go through the motions of trying to help him reclaim his throne, we also see him first just progressively getting more aggressive.
Wasn't there like a memory wipe thing in the game, in the last Tales game that I played on the last stream with the main
yes.
protagonist, and
yeah.
you like could sometimes remember, could sometimes not.
Yeah,
remember
so they
things.
play with certain aspects of memory in this too. I think that's a very good point and a great connection. And so ultimately he totally like has a mental break with just kind of declaring that everyone has betrayed him because they don't support his agenda for absolute control and like protecting the world with an iron fist. He turns against his friends. He stops being the leader of his country, and he basically fucks off to absorb all of the energy from the world for reasons unclear. So the entire plot then basically revolves around trying to figure out what the heck is going on with Richard. How can we save him from this force that is happening within him and to him? Yes, you can post the funnies if you want to, Grail. I think that'll be great for context.
I love the funnies.
So it's an interesting structure in which the gang basically travels the world, and their first exposure to the world is through basically following around Richard and trying to figure out what he's up to and how they can save him. So at bottom, like many levels of complexity, but the core issue that is still at the heart of the game is how do we save Richard and basically bring him back to that friendship pact that we made when we were kids.
On the tree.
Now exactly the pact on the tree. It's what it's all about. There are deep Buddhist undertones in this game too.
Is there a tree theme?
Single tree, Buddha achieving enlightenment. You'll see there's a lotus flower on the back of Asbel's coat. So yeah, there's a lot of that.
Cool.
What we learn about Sophie, as we're also learning about Richard, is it turns out that this dark force inside Richard, which we still don't totally know the story of at this point in the game, but we know a decent amount. It's this entity called Lambda that since time immemorial, or at least since history unclear, lived basically within the core of the world. And when these external, basically alien forces were trying to colonize the world and take its energy because they had run out of resources, they accidentally let this thing out, right? So in order to basically try to stop this thing, which also spawns monsters from it, from taking over like the cosmos and destroying and terraforming everything in its image, they sealed it away in a specific place in the world, and the party kind of unwittingly let it out from there. And this alien race designed these kind of humanoid robots like Sophie to try to figure out how to counter and destroy Lambda in order to eliminate the risk.
Sophie just appeared.
Yes. And interestingly, the way in which she reappeared, and this is what we were talking about in terms of that scene that Pottery was pointing to in terms of the metaphoric interpretation of it, was that when it seemed like she died in childhood and then came back later, she basically implemented this mechanism that was programmed into her to be able to distribute her particles into other living beings in order to persist but also help them heal. So she, like, in a very literal way within the world, distributed her own life force into her childhood friends who had been attacked by Lambda in order to allow them to survive, and then she later was able to reconstitute herself. So, long way of saying, a million other things going on, but really at the heart of it, there are two things that are driving us right now.
Friendship as physical particles.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Pottery. So that was a bit more boots on the ground recapitulation of what we were talking about last week. But really, for all of the complexity, and it's a JRPG, like we were talking about, there's always going to be this kind of complexity. But I think one of the things that's very cool about Tales of Graces, like we've been talking about on the stream, is that it very self-consciously distills into just two ideas. First, how do we save Richard? And how do we figure out stuff about Lambda and what it is and what to do about it? But that's kind of incidental to saving Richard. And then second, how can we help Sophie to figure out who she wants to be and be happy? Because right now, she had basically lost her memory of what her like designed purpose was of destroying Lambda. And then when we went to the alien world and met the people who had created her, they basically reawakened that purpose in her. So now she's very gung-ho about saying, like, my only purpose is to destroy Lambda. I have to do that. And so the idea is, how can we free Sophie from this kind of pre-programmed purpose that she has and give her the agency to be a person on her own terms? So succinctly, how do we save Richard and how do we save Sophie?
I absorbed as much of that as I could, and I'm guessing it'll...
Context will help, yes. So we will, I'm sure, like I said, a lot more will unfold as we're doing these kind of very late game side quests now. We just, in the last stream before this, had some very climactic and gross confrontations with Richard and Lambda inside this, like, living cocoon of gross organic matter that Lambda created in order to basically seal itself off and get ready to penetrate into the Earth's core to absorb all of its energy. And surprise, surprise, we ended in a fail state. So now we're going around the world. We're learning a lot more about each of these characters and helping them to achieve things in their own stories before, presumably, the final confrontation with Richard and Lambda at the center of the world. So the usual stakes, basically.
All right. I think should we jump into it?
I think we should, unless you have any questions. I know everything's, of course, crystal clear, but if there's anything I can clarify.
Everything is so clear. Drilling into the Earth's core, absorbing its energy.
Like I said, the usual stakes. There are a million cool things that are fun that I'm sure we'll call out and you'll appreciate as we go through this.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, like the kind of descendants of these ancient engineers, all of the named characters in that group are female, but they're all named after real-world male mathematicians and engineers like Fourier and Pascal and Poisson, names like that. Cool. So a lot of interesting world building in that sense. That's right. But most importantly, we went to the beach. That was the unusually lewd scene that I was telling you about earlier before the stream started.
It's a good thing they grew up.
All right. I'm also going to shout out to the stream. I'm sure you know us well enough at this point to just say so. I did some audio testing before the stream, so hopefully everything is nice and balanced, but especially as the stream starts, if the audio is a little wonky, shout it out. Let us know. We can tweak it on the fly for sure.
I have to decide.
Yes, I know. And the real question is now, which character do you want to play as we go forward here?
I got that nice list.
Oh, yes,
together.
I'm going to shout out Grail because, of course, I said I was going to, and then I promptly forgot. But Grail, for everyone else who was watching on the stream, is so thoughtful. He was talking about this last time, but he took the time to go through and basically give succinct explanations of the gameplay dynamics of every single one of these characters as a kind of cheat sheet for Matt and for Dan, who will be visiting starting this coming week, and really anyone else. So, I mean, I know how much work goes into that kind of thing. So,
yeah, I appreciate it.
Grail, thank you. What an amazing way of helping someone get into this. That's really special.
I'll do Pascal.
Pascal? All right.
I don't know, the idea of long and close range spells sounded very interesting.
She is a very unusual, and I think many people would say refreshing model for a spellcaster in this kind of game. So I think that's a great idea.
But I know someone was talking about Malik, so we'll try.
We'll definitely keep Malik in the party, yes. But I think that's good. Okay.
Should I also?
Yeah, let's do it, friends. Welcome back to Tales of Praxis. It's going to be fun. We will. I will thank you in advance for your patience with when Dan gets here on Monday, us explaining it to him. But maybe we can do something fun like tag team the explanation.
Oh, it's going to be like, are you going to put me on the spot?
Or I could just make you explain it based on what you understand. That might be more fun. Thank you for the suggestion, Matt. I will take your suggestion about what
Can we have Evie explain it?
When we can teach her how to speak.
Barks.
I'm sure she would if she could. While we're getting ready to finally get stuck in here, I remembered the last thing that I am going to say is thank you everyone for your patience in my uploading and publishing some of the other content that we had on tap for this week. As you know, I'm in the process of applying to PhD programs, and so some of the deadlines are passed. I have officially put my hat in the running for some of those programs, so cross your fingers on my behalf, if you would. But I also was very happy to clear the backlog today, and so in particular, if you are interested in all of the issues that I know you are, if you found your way to the Tales of Praxis stream in terms of the value and methodology of positive and productive game discussion and interpretation, the most recent podcast episode is an extended one, so hopefully it's worth the wait. It's almost 2 hours as opposed to one, and it is all about that in a range of contexts, from these stream discussions that we do, with particular shout outs to people on this very stream, to the kind of approach to the Game Awards, to what I was working on in my writing sample for PhD programs, which is about the philosophy of games, to everything in between. So check that out if you need a way to think about thinking about gaming while you're gaming this weekend. That's my pitch for you there. That's true. You're right, Pottery. And here's the thing: I would be happy to Yuri interpret for Evie, but I feel like there's more texture to it if she's able to actually speak for herself in the way that Rapide does at the end of the game, right? But I don't know how well that translates on stream.
Let's hop in. And let's hop in.
Yes, I love that. So you just tell me, in terms of being able to hear me in the game, if you need the volume up or down, or you can also just reach over it, but it's playing through feedback on the laptop. So just toggle the volume controls as you need them.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Mine is not connected to that, so don't worry about
okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I understand.
So you can do it as whatever you want. All right, so we're going to go back to what you had been saying.
Oh yeah, we got some good suggestions. I was told I need to get acquainted with battle.
Yes, but
you guys can watch me suffer.
And Grail, shout out to you again. You've really been our spirit guide for this playthrough. So I'm going to find some way to call you out and toast you as we go through this. Well, because here's the thing, and I'm not going to spend like 10 more minutes extolling Grail, because really everyone on this stream is fantastic in their own special ways. But I appreciate Grail because I know how much effort goes into guidance through games, let alone games of this nature. And usually I'd be following along in like side quest guides of my own, but especially since I didn't do Tales of Graces exhaustively back when I first played it, and because I didn't want to spoil myself for it and experience it fresh, I thought, man, wouldn't it be great if I could just know where to go but not know what to expect? And Grail has been tremendously helpful throughout these 60 hours in helping us to get there.
And that's what I was asking you to do for me in Bloodborne, when I just wanted to know where the shortcut was, and you were not telling me. And you know what?
Fuck you, Bloodborne's a different kind of game. That's all I have to say there.
Well, there we go.
All right. Okay, so we're going back to Lant first to do a side quest that has to do with basically creating a garden that represents the whole world by getting seeds from all over the world and planting it there.
Dude, I literally just watched an episode of Star Trek that was all about seeds.
So there you go. We don't have to play the game. You played it already.
I figured it out. Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome to Tales of Praxis, my friends. Welcome to Friday night. I hope you're thinking well and gaming well.
Oh, wow. That smells strong.
That's awesome. Matt is also basically the equivalent of a craft beer sommelier. So Grail is my spirit guide for side content, and Matt is my sommelier and spirit guide for
oh my god,
beer
it's so
adventures.
good.
So that's really good. Yeah.
Jesus. All right.
No, and if anything, hopefully it felt faster because it's not the new record, and also it's us having a conversation as opposed to Aaron monologuing as it usually is.
I was gonna say I didn't want to say anything.
Hey, they show up for it. I'm not apologizing. They show up for it. I'm very consistent about how I approach this stuff.
I appreciate everyone's patience. Thank you for accepting me.
Oh, Grail is giving us really useful further guidance because I put Pascal in your slot and then I totally forgot to actually.
And also, someone asked about what beer we were drinking.
Do you want to give the back of the bottle?
I can. We are drinking a Bourbon County 2023 barrel-aged stout.
So yeah, I mostly like to enjoy the aesthetics of beer through someone who better understands it, like Matt. And when we started planning this trip, which was a while ago, he said, there's these super special beers, super limited edition. They come out on Black Friday. You got to get them. So I drove my Leaf with horrible traction on its tires through a snow day in Colorado where no one knows how to plow the roads to get these beers just for him. So it's a very special occasion in more
For
ways than one.
us.
That's right, for us. It's an adventure.
No,
No, I wouldn't have it any other way. So here, and I'll explain to you a little bit of the setup, and I'm
this
sure
looks moderately familiar.
it is. So it's a similar setup. What I'll say is, so Gray will explain sort of the two paths of attack types. So the assault arts are the ones that you can't set how they work, but basically when you hit X with different directions of the controller, they make these different attacks that for Pascal are basically
Depending on the
just
direction that I'm doing.
and they're like
What is
firing
the
squad attacks
CC
basically.
1,
She shoots
2,
things.
3? What is the line?
So you'll see in battle, basically it's a resource for like the number of moves that you can make, and it regenerates naturally over time, or if you execute timely dodges, or as you're moving around. So you basically, that's how much it costs, and you don't want to run out of that during battle.
It's like it's your mana.
Basically,
Okay,
yep.
cool.
These are her spells to use at close range, and these are the ones where you can actually set them and then just use circle in combination with directions
So it was X
to
for
cast
the
different
farther
ones.
range ones, and
Yep.
circle for the closer range.
That's right.
ones.
Think about X as like your basic strike attacks in melee, and circle as your special attacks.
Speak to me in a language I understand.
See, I know how to talk to this guy. All right, so here, even though it's second player, you need to map them through the first player controller. So take mine, and you can select and replace it with.
Oh
whatever.
no, let's just go with what you have. I should just know what they are. A self-strengthening art. Okay. Power within.
Pottery, it's ridiculous, especially coming from the Northeast. Yeah, Colorado has enough snow that they should know how to deal with it, but it's like, it's so much less snow than a place like Boston, and yet they're so much worse at managing it that it's much harder to drive. And also, no one knows how to drive in snow, which just compounds the issue.
So these are,
It's
sorry,
nuts.
remind me. These are the B. We call these the B arts versus like A arts.
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't need to remember this, but if it's helpful, B arts stands for burst arts, and A arts is assault arts.
It says you generally want to start combos with X attacks, finish them with O. But for her, also the O are the longer range kind of dealios. There's like fire projectile from far
No,
away.
so the O attacks are the spells that are at close range.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Her
I got
assault
it.
arts are.
You know,
at
these are
range.
the things that'll I'm not gonna remember. But then, like when I'm
We'll
actually
work through
doing
two
them,
battles, and then you'll be better than I am at this. I guarantee you. Matt is that kind of guy. He's saying no. That's going to be the case. I promise you.
It's not my style. But like,
Grail,
we'll
that's
figure
true.
it out.
We got into like the deep analysis of Vesperia. And to be fair, we're getting there in Graces too. And also for Matt's benefit, we are nearing the end of Act 3 in a 4-act game. So we have plenty of ways to
Okay.
go. There's no doubt about that. Oh, nice Sauv Blanc. Nice, Chrissy. I missed that.
Oof. Getting some like brown sugar. Okay, I really appreciate all of
Yeah.
the advice.
So are you feeling good about this?
We're just gonna go for it.
All
I
right,
like that
we'll-
all of the B arts are different elements.
We need to switch controllers back. Okay, so we might you get used to basically the flow, and then we might retool.
So
our
Aaron's
arts,
setting
and,
me up for
and Grail can
failure.
help us. That's right.
All right, thanks, bro.
What I'm saying is you can have all the credit for the victories and none of the blame for the losses. So the usual stakes, in other words.
Setting me up for success.
That's right. All right. We are going to launch.
Lahant.
Yeah, so we'll probably do a few things before combat comes into the picture, but then
That's
we'll
fine.
do the combat after that. All right, so it is seed depositing first.
Oh my god, Star Power?
Star Power, you got it, buddy. Matt's a huge Mario fan, so see, he has
I
ways
grew up
of
with Nintendo. It's what I
understanding
know.
things. You know, there's a method, Pottery. There's a method to the madness. We're giving him time to internalize it. It has to sink in before he can really implement it.
It has to leave my brain, and then I'll be like, what does triangle do?
You can't know anything until you forget everything.
Exactly.
That's a very Tales of Graces thing.
Plant some seeds.
Let's plant these amaryllis seeds. Amaryllis, what a pretty name.
Where'd
It's
she
true.
go?
It's part of the texture we were talking about, right? If every experience were equally interactive or involved, it would be a different kind of game.
She's planting seeds.
Let's plant these Gerbera seeds. Gerbera? I am Gerbera! Ooh, that sounds kind of powerful. This is such a different experience because I don't think the last time I was here I was reading the text aloud, but I've been trying to make it more accessible, and now I feel like I'm doing read aloud for you.
Aw.
Let me tell you a story, man.
Please do.
It is pretty cute.
Please read it for me.
Let's plant these Iassemble seeds? L'assemble
I was saying
seeds?
l'assemble.
L'assemble? Let's plant these l'assemble seeds. After we plant them, if we wait a bit and come back, the flowers should bloom.
So why is she doing this?
It's also nice and cute to Pottery's point because, again, right before this in the stream, we basically saw Sophie desperately trying to kill what they understand to be the core source of evil in the world.
So now she's just planting.
But out of this desire to basically, she's trying to sort of understand and build like her own little like literal and figurative garden in this place that meant a lot to her when Asbo and everyone befriended her. Also because it's important to understand when they named her Sophie, they were actually naming her after the Vesperia flower, which was the bed of flowers they found her in. So it's like flowers have that kind of resonance with identity for her. Yes, exactly. Pottery and I have a tendency to say the same things at the same time, which I love. Let's plant these Daphne seeds. Daphne, Daphne, Daphne.
Oh,
Daphne! Daphne! That was my Frasier impression, if anyone caught that.
Nice one.
Old Frasier, not the new Frasier, which is, I'm not talking about that.
Pronounce that one.
Let's plant these Niferum seeds, not to be confused with Nebulum, which is a very different kind of thing in Tales games. Niferum. In flower language, it means forgetfulness and sleep. Sophie found something buried in the flower bed. This never happened before.
Really?
Oh, Judas's Carta, another nightmare. This is a fun thing.
Another nightmare.
As we were talking about the kinds of cool connections that can be hard to understand unless you've played these games close together, they're really thoughtful in terms of introducing like cameos from the various games into the games. So within this one, for instance, there's this whole like emergent card game that you can play and collect that represent characters from the other games.
Cool.
So this was someone from another Tales game. A Tales game that hasn't been localized. I'm sure I have no idea what you mean, Grail. I don't think we've gotten very few costumes so far, so... Yeah, I don't know if this came up when we were doing
60
Dawn of
hours
the New
into the
World,
game.
Okay, but costumes are like a famously late game thing. Like you play through most of the game in one costume set. In most Tales games, not all Tales games, but in a lot of them. And then you unlock in a lot of the different side quests. Well, you know, I'm going where Grail told me to. We can't thank him and then blame him. That's
I'm not blaming Grail.
Let's plant these. Okay, fine. Blame me. Let's plant these bloody rose
Oh,
seeds.
wow.
They remind me of a gold-hungry thief.
So why are we watching her do this?
Let's plant these Jack in the Pulpit seeds. It seems like they'll attract bugs. We're watching her do this so that she has the opportunity to cultivate this garden representing the whole world, and presumably, as she does so, it will help her to affirm and understand a different part of her identity.
Nameless flower.
Let's plant these nameless flower seeds. Nameless. Oh, just like me. Oh, no. Girl, that's heartbreaking.
You have a name.
That was one of the things that was really hard about going to her home planet and seeing the engineers who created her, because they like very directly referred to her as an object and a tool rather than a person. So you got this idea of everything that she had been through in her past.
Okay.
We'll have to find some seeds somewhere. So we don't have all of them. That's frustrating.
I see. So it's like part of an ongoing quest that you get seeds for her.
Basically, yeah, everywhere in the world you can find different seeds and then bring them back here and cultivate it. All right, so we did that one, and maybe we can try to do seed cleanup at some point, but for now, I'll go back to 2 out of question mark of what Grail listed.
Did you go past it?
Did I go past it?
You might have.
2
out of
1,
question mark.
okay, perfect. Visit Sharia's house. Okay, there should be a star/scene there. Perfect.
So the stars tell you, okay.
Yeah, it identifies where side content happens, which is pretty nice. Not all the games do that, so we have at least a fighting chance. Oh, there we go. All right.
There you go.
It's gone. I can't find it anywhere.
Who's Frederick?
Frederick is her dad.
My
Cheria,
dad.
Master Asbel. I'm afraid I committed a grave error in judgment. Or her grandfather? One of those. What's wrong, Grandpa? Yes, grandfather, not father. Excuse me. I have misplaced the handkerchief Lord Aston so kindly gave to me. Lord Aston was Asbel and Hubert's now dead dad.
Okay.
We're learning as we go.
Hubert has had some shit happen.
They've all been through a lot, yes, but Hubert especially.
I think
that's
Hubert's
fair.
been the butt of the joke.
I've certainly
Justice for
in
Hubert.
some ways he has, yeah, and we saw some justice for him. He's also gotten some redemption and self-understanding, especially in the
Isn't
last.
he like
the last stream.
a militaristic leader now?
Yes, but he's also grown beyond that in terms of what he wants to do with those skills to help the world and his friends, even outside of the Stratton military.
good.
I've searched high and low, but it's simply nowhere to be found. How could you lose something like that? I'm so sorry, Master Asbel. It's all right, Frederick. Just calm down and think. Where did you last see the handkerchief?
It's on his neck.
Verona? Yes, that's it. His neck. Oh, yes, this one.
Oh, shit.
It was when I was buying supplies at Barona's item shop. Barona, got it. I'll go look for it. Young master, no, I couldn't possibly ask such of you. It's no problem, Frederick. I'll find the handkerchief and bring it back. Yeah, that's true. Hubert has some special abilities, as Grail points out. Just post it to their quest list, and we'll bring it there once we find it, okay? Yes, very good. Now hurry up and go along with Master Asbel, Sharia. Why are you telling me that? Because everybody knows she just wants to be with him.
They disappeared.
Oh, there was a plushie there. We're also on an ongoing quest to collect and make plushies for this poor, sick little girl in the USSR. Oh, but this isn't one that we can take.
Aw.
Alas, I had hope for a moment. All right. Now,
Wait, what is down there?
down where? That's a cat.
Oh, okay.
It's a kitty
There's
cat.
down there.
Hanging out. As they do.
Yeah. Sweet.
There's a very Japanese representation of cats, though. I hadn't thought of that, but as I'm gearing up to be excited about going to Japan, I have been remembering how cool their culture of really well cared for stray cats is, because they just hang out everywhere on the
And
streets
cat
and around
cat.
houses.
Don't they have cat cafes?
I believe they were the progenitors of the cat cafe. Yep. Unsurprisingly. Speaking
makes
of
sense.
Japanese things.
Are we still in this more like monarchy-y kingdom?
Got it in one. Yep. So that was the lordship, and now this is the capital of the monarchy.
Okay,
So the
gotcha.
castle is up there, for instance.
Alright.
Whence the music and the general
Whence.
design. Good day. Can I help you find something in particular?
Woman.
That's. Are they wrong?
No.
Actually, we're looking for a lost item. Oh, well, no need to be shy. What was it? It's a silk handkerchief. I don't suppose you've seen it. A friend of ours thinks he might have left it here. I think someone turned in a handkerchief the other day. Hold on one moment. Is this it? FB. Frederick Barnes. That's
Oh my God,
it.
We found it. That was easy.
Sometimes they are. Sometimes not so much, but sometimes they are. I'm glad you showed up to claim it. It's such a nice handkerchief. I couldn't bear to throw it out. Thank you very much for your help. Yes, yes. Now, if you don't mind me asking, are you two an item?
Oh my god.
Of course not. We're not dating at all. We'd never even consider it. The very thought is absurd.
Don't do him like that.
The funny thing is, so all of these characters have like unique pieces of equipment, and Sharia's unique equipment type is the ribbons that are in her hair, and every one that you can get throughout the game is basically describing a hope that this particular ribbon will catch Asbel's attention in one way or another and get him to be interested in her. Oh, what a shame. You seem like such a nice couple. Well, regardless, I think you should check out our special pair accessories. I wouldn't mind seeing some new accessories. Pair accessories are all the rage here in Verona. And I've got a number of the most popular ones right here.
He's just like, what the
For
fuck?
example, how did I get dragged into this?
For example, these.
I don't mean to interrupt, but we're kind of in a hurry. Oh, I can just run. Hey, what are you doing?
We have these furry handcuffs that you can use.
Oh, man. You didn't have to drag me out of there, you know. Sheesh. I think that clerk was the one I've heard stories about. She lures customers in with sweet talk, then suckers them into buying overpriced trinkets.
A likely story.
Oh, so you were just looking out for me? Well, yeah. I mean, I'd feel bad for Frederick if his request for a favor from his got his daughter swindled. How can you be such a big dumb jerk?
She saw through his ruse.
What? Hey, what did I do now? Will she ever be understood? A precious handkerchief that Frederick received from Lord Aston. Oh, is there a whole island of stray cats, Chrissy? That sounds awesome. See, I didn't even know about that, but that makes me want to add that to my list in Japan.
All right. So was this simple?
Okay,
just 'cause you
great.
knew
I'll do
exactly
that
where
just
to go?
because we joked about it last time. I'm sure it will go great. What was that?
Was this like an easier side quest just because you knew exactly where to go?
It was easier because we knew that it existed in the first place, so we knew to go to
I
Sherry's house.
see. Okay.
After we found out where he thought the handkerchief was, that would have been easy to find on our own, but there are just so many places you can go in the world that doing a full sweep of everywhere is exhausting unless you're using something like a guide or a very supportive Praxis gamer like Grail.
Your elixir's already full.
I thought it wasn't! I'm sorry!
We get to have a grilled chicken bowl?
No, we get to give grilled chicken bowl.
To who?
To whom? To a knight.
Oh, shut up. I'm a scientist.
That's right. But you are the one with the PhD.
Data goes burr.
Oh, maybe we have to actually go back to Lant to give him the handkerchief? I thought it would be on the requests here, but perhaps it's on the requests in Lant. Okay, fabulous. I mean, there have been bigger worlds, Grail, but I don't think that implies this world is small enough to do a million sweeps for side content at every point in it. I say that having done that for many games in my own past, and it is exhausting.
I literally just saw that on Bloodborne you had 360 hours.
I refuse to talk about it. Everyone, I think, still has yet to get over my overall playtime in Dawn of the New World, so we know it's a thing. I don't want to even begin to give you visuals of what it was like working through all the Xenoblade Chronicles games for my study last year. It was truly like every time there was a main plot beat, I would then like do a sweep of all the areas to make sure I wasn't missing any potential little side quests and moments. I think this takes us down to the docks. Yeah, this is the wrong way. So this is not going to go well. This is mostly a joke, and I'm saying that to prepare you. But Grail mentioned there's a very fun piece of mystery content up here that we can explore together, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
All right, I'm ready.
Oh, you think that Ultimate is a subpar fighting game, Grail? Would you agree with that?
Ultimate's not bad. I enjoyed it.
You're also not a hardcore fighting gamer, though. Or do you consider yourself a hardcore fighting gamer? Maybe I'm speaking out of school.
I've played your classic like Street Fighters and other games like that, but yeah. I like the sandboxiness of it all.
See, I like to think that the Praxis stream is pretty self-selective for people who appreciate long playthroughs pottery, so I appreciate that. All right, so space-time is warped here. We're going to go in. By the way, for point of reference, this giant thing was basically the source of all the energy for the monarchy, and it used to be glowing green until Richard came and sucked all the energy out of it. Yes. Basically, you don't have to read it this way, but it's kind of a thinly veiled fictional allusion to like a nuclear power source, kind of something like that.
Okay.
We haven't talked explicitly about it that much during the stream, but it's come up in the periphery once or twice. I feel like if you wanted to do sort of a reading of at least parts of this game in terms of nuclear energy, I feel like someone who is more in that world than I am could do that. All right. Here we go.
Let's go inside.
See, that's how I feel, Pottery. Matt will always turn items off, and I will always ramp them up to 11.
Hey.
Get ready.
Oh, okay. You did not tell me. Where am I?
Can you move? Oh, wait,
I
your
can't.
controller got disconnected? Hang on.
And
There you go.
oh, there we go. Okay.
Well, that's good. This was a chance to wake up your controller anyways.
All right. Sorry.
So this is a very regular enemy, and if we can't beat it, we don't have a chance
Oh,
against
did
anything
I just
else.
die?
All right, I'll revive you as a joke. This is stuff we're supposed to do like at the end of the game, so we, like I said, we're doing it for the memes.
Oh my god.
Good luck.
What? Why did you do this to me?
As a joke. I think I was very clear about that. All right, everyone, thanks for joining our stream. We'll see you again on Monday.
Hey, I did some damage.
You did. I'm proud of you.
My controller wasn't even on for that.
Yeah. Well, you know, I had to start you at a handicap because you're so good at games.
Wait, okay. I wasn't understanding the movement. Like, I could move forward, but I wasn't able to move around.
So you can move in a linear way if you're targeting an enemy, and then if you press, I think it's L1, then you can do what's free run, and that will let you
thanks
move
for telling
on
me
any
that.
access. No problem, buddy. All right, let's go back and do some actual stuff now.
Now I want to fight that again. We're gonna do it.
It's L2. All right, thank you, Grail. No, it's L2, not L1. We're not talking
do
about
the
that
other-
that boss skeleton from Vesperia.
Do the other
I'm
triggers
still
do
not over
something?
that one.
We'll
yes.
find out.
Yeah, you'll find out. R1 is for targeting. I think that's the other important one. All right,
I thought
so
I
we're going
did
back to L1.
pretty well there.
Are you kidding me for throwing you into a ridiculously
hit him.
overpowered battle?
I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I got backstabbed.
You didn't die instantly, and that's my metric of success there.
Well, I didn't die instantly because I didn't move yet because I was like,
Well, okay, but after I brought you back,
Thanks.
then you didn't die instantly. All right, he's gone. So I think we need to fulfill his request of the handkerchief
where?
at the manor.
He just asked. We went back and he left. God, he's
Listen,
inconsiderate.
these NPCs have rich, busy lives that don't revolve around the players and their party. They have things to do.
Okay. I gotta do a combo. All right.
All right, I think we've walked our way into the further story. Are we gonna? The game is a bit quiet. All right, thank you.
Thank you for letting us know.
I'll turn it up a little bit. Let me know if I overcompensate or if it needs more adjustment. Grail, are we? Well, just let us know in the chat if we're gonna miss any side content by accidentally rolling into the main story a bit too early, because we can always reload if we have to do that. But for now, let's roll on.
Bailey, you're alive.
I knew Bailey would live.
We've been fighting off
Yes.
the monsters with the help of Miss Fourier.
Fourier is Pascal's sister and another engineer descendant.
Zen.
Asbel, is there a place in your manor where we can plan our next move?
Of course. Let's use the study.
Fantastic. All right, so we
Sweet.
have plenty of freedom. I love the freedom.
Let's go to the study.
Yeah. Well, that'll be nice. We can give you a little bit of color of the main story and some actual voiced content as we're going on here.
Can we give the guy his handkerchief
Yes, we can.
so that he can stop complaining about it?
Beloved handkerchief. Here it is.
There is a quiche.
Actually, we have several of these.
one. Oh my god.
We have many. So here, we can get the payoff for all of
animal glue.
these. Young man asks, "This was a dish my mom used to make. Bless her soul. I'd give anything to taste it again. You think anyone out there knows how to prepare
Is
it?"
his mom dead?
Yes, we do. Probably, yeah. Lant over the course of this story has had very bad luck. It's been attacked by the enemy nation I mentioned. It's been attacked by the monsters that Lambda shat out of itself. It's just over and over again. People have just been mutilated here. Oh my gosh, it's just like I remembered. Thanks. This makes me think fondly of her. All right, good to know, Grail. Thank you. Anonymous letter. I came to Lant to see you, but you were gone, so I wrote a letter and hid it in the place where we swore a friendship pact as children. Oh, this
the
was
tree.
yeah, this was one from way earlier in the game. I just I forgot to actually finish the quest.
Have you ever carved your name in a tree?
No, I think I'm one of those where, like, even though I don't think of myself as a rampant environmentalist, it just feels like it would be doing such needless violence to a living
I did
thing,
it when
you
I
know?
was a kid.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I have to say to add commentary there.
I mean,
You're
it's
welcome.
it's a rite of passage for a lot of people, I think. Like, it's definitely something with a certain cultural meaning in certain circles. I trusted you would find my letter, so I wrote this message ahead of time. Your success means our friendship pact will remain strong forever, which is something that only hits harder at this point in the game after we've seen how far beyond that friendship Richard has gone. But hopefully it's not too late. Yeah, that's right. The trees won't get me when the time comes. They'll just come for you, Matt.
It's okay.
The arboreal uprising, is that what one would call that?
Good job.
Thanks.
You've been reading, I can tell.
Because I used the word arboreal.
I don't know. You were trying to sound like you were trying to impress everyone.
No, I was trying to sound out in my head. Is that actually a word or something that
Arboreal?
syntactically makes sense as a word?
Arboreal.
Arboreal. That's the word. Thank you. I knew I
you
wasn't
read a
quite
book?
right. I'm trying. I
Magic.
have misplaced a
See,
beloved
Pottery and I
handkerchief
know.
that Lord Aston bestowed
Magic
upon me.
isn't real, you idiot.
Read a book. I may have dropped it while shopping in Verona. Yeah, but if they don't have to do with hardcore analytic philosophy, they're probably outside of my working vocabulary right now. Whence my
Oeuvre.
confusion about arboreal. My vocabulary oeuvre. My handkerchief, you found it. Thank you, Master Asbel. Thank you, Sherry.
Well, hand over the goods,
Honestly,
Grandpa.
Grandpa, you can be so absent-minded sometimes. All right, Frederick, we'll see you later. Do take care out there, young master.
All right.
Sherry, wait.
Telling Aaron.
That's the joke. That's the funny. I want you to have this. Even my games are books. Please help me. This is a cry for help. What is it? It has a long and distinguished history in our family, and I think you will put it to better use than I ever could. Oh, Grandpa, thank you. Oh, and one more thing. I don't wish to overstep my
But are
bounds
you
with
guys
this next
dating?
comment, but marry that boy, my girl. Grandpa? Sometimes you need to express your feelings in words if you want them to be understood. Speaking of words, what are you talking about? I'm talking about your happiness.
Wow.
Grandpa, Asbel and I are just... Hey, was this whole handkerchief thing just a ploy to get us together? That's kind of what I was thinking.
I think so.
Lord Aston would be most displeased with me over this matter. Of course he would, you meddler!
This is like that Indian matchmaker show.
I beg your pardon.
Did you never watch that?
No. Indian matchmaker show?
Yeah,
What
it was
show
like
are you talking
Indian
about?
moms that were just
This
like...
was a show.
It was a show.
Like a reality show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or they were just like, they would play matchmaker. They'd be like, I need to find a husbando. And they'd be like, we're gonna, they would match them. It was a whole thing. Anyway.
I
sorry.
believe you.
That was a poll.
I learned so much from you, man.
Thank you. You gotta,
Words like arboreal, shows like Indian matchmaker. Stay out of my business. Ah, young love.
oh my god.
Charbroil.
I don't like
A
it.
thing that's like plump and tender all the way through, and it doesn't even show us what it is. Okay.
Don't use it all in one place.
What type of item? It's a material. Yeah, we must be able to make something special with it.
All right.
Can use it
For
as a material.
dualizing.
Dualizing is basically a very cool and fun system in this game that you can use to make new items out of old items.
Cool.
Get the items to do the fusion dance and make new things, basically.
Ah.
That was a cool little side quest too, because one of the things that we've been talking about a lot as a piece of the thematic puzzle in this game is the idea that more so than a lot of other JRPGs where all of the characters work through every aspect of their history in this group context, here, like, characters have very different sets of relationships with different people. And so, like, we learn a lot through, for instance, like Malik, Asbel's teacher, his own, like, flashbacks into his own past, but because the rest of this party doesn't have the right context to relate to that, he doesn't share that past with them. So there's a lot of interiority there. But this idea now that instead of thinking about making sense of the relationships that are, sometimes what it takes to create the relationship that you want requires actually vocalizing something and creating a context, as Frederick is saying with respect to Sherry on the relationship she wants with Asbel. That strikes me as a really interesting counterpoint and corollary to what we have been talking about in terms of the relationships in this game.
Did King Richard intentionally merge with Lambda?
It sure looked that way. Who would allow something so horrible to happen to themselves?
Lambda must be manipulating Richard. That has to be it.
Maybe.
That's why it's necessary for me to eradicate Lambda.
We'll do it without your mutual destruction.
But Asbel will never be able to save Richard. All right, that's enough, you two.
We also learned that in order for Sophie to fulfill her purpose of destroying Lambda, she
also need to
needs to use a
perish?
protocol to annihilate herself. That's right. And the thing that was interesting to sort of further the arc of wrestling with Richard and the relationship between him and the party that happened last time was everyone had been under the impression that Lambda was basically parasitic on Richard and possessing him against his will. But then there was actually a sequence in which Lambda ended up getting separated from Richard, and Richard basically called Lambda back into his body willingly. And so now the party's like, oh, what does that mean
They're
for
like,
Richard?
why?
Yeah, can we really trust him? Is he our enemy after all?
Oh, and that's the whole thing, friend or enemy. Ah, okay.
Exactly right.
I'm remembering the things said in the
See,
chat.
I told you it'd come together.
We're getting there.
You learn by doing.
Exactly.
What we're doing on the stream now is basically a crystallization of exactly why, sadly, game developers and publishers have moved away from instruction books and just want you to figure things out as you go through the game. I miss instruction books, though. I really do. And now Pottery is going to remind me that I need to play Tunic.
I have never played it.
I would love to
I've
play it.
only
It's on
seen
my
it-
very short list.
Dude, every time we've gone to PAX, it's been like something to demo there, and I played.
I
a little
know,
bit, and
it's
always
been
thought
so-
it was so aesthetically pleasing.
And one of those that is so cool to see develop in popularity in the culture, because it's one of those, I feel, as you say, where especially like in early days of PAX, we would see it even when people didn't really know about it yet. It's always nice to see those kind of come to the fore. Same thing with Dead Cells. I remember that showing up all the time in PAX before
It really did.
anyone I knew was playing it. And now it's still kind of niche, but pretty beloved, I would say.
Do you remember when It Takes Two was like starting to become a thing, and now it's like a huge thing?
I got you, Pottery. See, sometimes you get me, but I think I get you an equal amount. The repartee on this stream is powerful. So predictable. I knew something would go wrong. Okay, go to Lance Inn and check the requests. So I think we did those already. And then the next thing, I'm looking at the list to make sure we don't miss anything from Grail's recommendations. And Grail, if you have other ones, feel free to load us with others, because we're almost through that initial list that you put together, which was really helpful.
Going to the Warrior's Roost.
Yes, which is the Coliseum in this world, basically. So
Okay,
battle
okay.
challenges, so it'll be a great way to get your sea
All
legs
right.
ready for
I'll
fighting.
figure it out.
But I think there was one more request here. Yes, the ship model from Asbel and Hubert's mother, Carrie. There's
In the
a
catacombs.
model that reminds me of my late husband somewhere in the Verona catacombs, which is where the traumatic incident happened.
Oh,
I found
Jesus.
it already. If
Okay.
anyone finds it, please bring it to me.
And you guys found it. So it's
That's
just
right.
ready if you've done it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Oh, we got another scene from this. Awesome. So you're the ones who responded to my request. I suppose thanks are in order. What was the model doing down there? One time, before you two were born, your father and I had an argument. I was young and petulant, so I stole his favorite model just to spite him,
All right.
as one does. And then you hid it under Verona?
And you went to the
Good
catacombs?
grief, Mom. It's dangerous down there. Yeah, all right, all right. It didn't used to be. I stole it while accompanying your father on one of his business trips to Verona. Lord Aston brought the model with him? Oh yes, he adored that model and simply refused to part with it while he was still working on it. Your father nearly missed his own commendation ceremony because of that stupid
What
thing.
is this model?
So like a model of a ship.
Why is he so obsessed with
Commendation ceremony? I don't know. What are you talking about? Oh, he once received a commendation and a royal sword from the previous king. Beg pardon, milady. Is an Asbel Lant here?
Yeah.
I'm Asbel Lant. Sir Asbel, it is my pleasure to inform you that you have been awarded a royal commendation. Wow, timing is
Wow.
everything. Talk about the weight of a lineage. Wait, me?
How?
Oh, that's wonderful, Asbel. The how is a good question, considering the king of this kingdom is off being possessed by a dark force right now, and also Asbel defected from the knights after joining them.
Because he didn't want to be like the new leader or something.
Because he ran away from his family, and to do that, he tried to take on this alternative purpose. This game thinks a lot about like how do we make our identity out of different purposes. So he tried to like take on this duty of being a knight, but then after his dad died, he was like, "Oh, I'll try to rectify things by actually becoming the Lord of Lant after all." So then he like resigned from the knights in order to try to be the leader of Lant instead. And then he ended up being deposed from that by his brother. It was a whole thing. Oh, that's wonderful, Asbel. I also bear a message from Duke Dalin himself. Ahem. During our king's absence, here's the explanation. I would like nothing more than to hold a celebration and raise the spirits of the people. However, in this unfortunate age, we simply cannot spare the time for such an event. I have therefore elected to hold an informal ceremony celebrating your new title of Honorary Knight.
Not just
Wow.
nine.
It's like Zuckerberg getting the degree from Harvard after all.
Oh my god, we watched that happen.
I know. It chills me to my core to this day. It
He
turns
literally
my
couldn't
stomach.
come back because at the time the Knights were against Richard.
He sent a letter of resignation. No, isn't that? I'm not crazy. I remember him planning to do that and stepping away, right? I would challenge you on that, Grail. I have a pretty vivid memory of that, but maybe I'm misremembering. Can someone else tiebreak, or can we look it up? It would be an honor. Oh, Asbel, your father would be so proud of you.
Is everyone's dad dead?
The heck is an honorary knight? Well, fathers definitely don't seem to be in the picture.
I'm just noticing a theme.
That is interesting. We haven't talked about that a lot, but I think it resonates because we talked a lot about gender dynamics and family dynamics in Tales of Berseria too, which we played before this. But yeah, there seem to be a lot of absent father figures throughout this game. Yeah, I think that's worth paying attention to, especially as we go further into the story. Yeah. In a word, nothing. What do you mean? It's just a title. It doesn't come with any special status or authority. This also ties in with something we've been having a lot of fun with through this game because throughout the Tales games, there are many different ideas of assigning titles to characters in an actual gameplay sense where like they earn titles from different things happening in the story and those titles confer upon them different abilities. But in this game especially, like within the story, there's a lot of question of what is the meaning of the title in terms of how it interprets or limits our conception of ourselves and others. So what is it to give Sophie a new identity by giving her a name, or what is it for Asbel's identity to be bound up with the idea of being the Lord of Lant, things like that.
That's too salient. Also,
Right.
I like...
That's true. Malik is the dad.
Malik
so
is
that's
your
kind of an
dad,
exception.
too. And my dad. But just look at him.
Yeah, I would say, Grail, like, I belabored the point because I think just Asbel setting his intention to leave something that he had joined as a way of leaving something else is interesting and reflective of Asbel's character, but no doubt, with everything that was going on in the world, it was also a bit of a foregone conclusion or an overdetermined reaction that he wouldn't be able to go back to the Knights. That's fair. Yes, just a title. Funny, but also so fitting for this particular Tales game, isn't it, Pottery? Man, I'm telling you, when these games lean into a theme, it's not just for the sake of decoration. They're really thinking about it. So it's like a royal pat on the head. Oh, that's perfect. These really are the tales of our lives. Something like that. Don't be silly. This puts you one step closer to your dream. Thanks, Sherry. Oh, I just remembered. I still have the clothes your father wore when he received his commendation. Speaking of costumes, we're going to get one. I'm sure he'd want you to have them. Thanks, Mom.
Loading costume.
Honorary Knight.
Okay,
we
good.
probably still have to unlock the costume, but So this is one of the fun things about it. We can look, and so see, these are titles, and as you see, they unlock specific abilities for the characters, but they
Cool.
also have descriptions that are oftentimes relevant in the story in terms of how we read and think about the characters. So Honorary Knight, a title awarded to a civilian who makes great contributions to the nation. And yeah, see, so once we advance it to a certain stage, Asbel gets a costume.
Funny that he's called a civilian.
Yep. Well, funny, yeah, because he was born into a lordship and then was training to be a knight, but after all, he really has arrived at this place of having distinctive value in the story simply by virtue of being a person.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have any specific title or standing now. Although, especially given the absence of the king, like we were talking about, it's not even clear what royal standing would consist in at this point. All right, we did that, and I think that cleared the requests. And so now we can go to Warrior's Roost, and we can get you grounded in some gameplay. How about that?
Sure.
Some gameplay you can actually do.
Let's everyone. It's time to laugh at me. I think that's the takeaway.
That's not what I said.
I mean,
That's
I'm
not
ready.
What's gonna happen?
I'm ready to be humbled.
All right, Warrior's Roost. Okay. Rough.
Ah, yes, you liberté.
You liberte, actually.
Oh, liberté.
You ingrate.
I speak French.
And how? I'm gonna wake up your controller for you. It has a nasty habit of going to sleep if you don't use it.
It's okay.
I don't know how to fix that. Do you wish to challenge the trials of Riot Peak? That's why we're here.
Absolutely not.
We're currently holding the normal class tournament where one of your party members can sign up for battle. Oh, so it's only single player? Well, we must be able to unlock the group player. That's frustrating. I wish we could go right into it. Well, here. We'll do Pascal, and I'll give the controller to you, and you can.
Oh God, you're gonna give it to me?
Yeah, single standing test out Matt McGill. It's gonna be great.
All right. It's gonna be bad.
No,
Oh,
you're
we
gonna
got
have a great time.
Oh, hell.
Yeah, you have items to use. It's gonna be
How
great.
hard can it be?
Super not hard.
It'll
Good
be
luck.
fine. Let's all laugh. Let's all laugh at me. Which buttons? I don't remember what the buttons do. Oh, hell yeah.
Learn by doing. What did I say? No one listens to me.
Wow, those who run are scorned. Those who fall are forgotten.
You have to read the text now. You're in
Oh.
control.
What manner of fighter stands before us now? By the MC. I haven't seen MC ever spelt out in my entire goddamn life.
Really?
And I don't like it.
Boy, you're really on the outside of fighting games.
The challenge.
Read a book, Matt.
I don't read. You know this about me. Right? I believe in you. Thank you, Grail. The challenge to conquer. The tower begins. Destroy all who would stand in your way. That's, yeah, they'll do great against me. Now get ready, get set, go. Ah! So wait, it was R2 to just run around, and then it was this button to do the thingy. What?
There you go.
I don't think I hit it.
No, that gives your weapon firepower.
Got him.
Makes your attack stronger, basically.
I'm just gonna keep going against this one. Oh! Oh!
There you go.
There we go. LOL.
Nice.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, that's a big boy. Oh, whoop, 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 whoop.
Nice. So your weaker spells also cast more quickly.
Oh, well,
so
that press the wrong thing.
Evie believes in you.
Got him. Got him. Got him.
Feel like a big man.
I do. Oh, they just slapped the shit out of me.
You ran right up and immobilized yourself by casting.
Ah! I'm trying to run away.
There you go.
All right, there we go. There we go. He's a big boy. I don't remember how to do anything else. Okay, what's like down?
What do you mean, what's down?
Is it so? It's wait. X was the long range. God.
X are the long range assault arts. That's right, and you can keep pressing it to do combos.
Oh, do I? Am I like out of mana right now?
Nope, you have full.
Then why aren't I throwing anything?
Are you continually pressing X? There you go.
Oh, got him.
And if you press the left stick in different directions while you're doing that, it'll make different combos.
Get out. Oh, I like that. Oh, it's trying to do the thing. Ow. The O's don't seem that good.
Well, the other thing is if you use the circle attacks, when you're in the middle of a combo after a couple X attacks, that also cuts your casting time, so it can make it easier to get attacks off.
Oh. I feel like I'm literally just spamming right now.
This is also a type of game that is very outside Matt's usual game language, Chrissy, to be fair. But yes, I'm glad you're heartened.
It's turning to another game. Is it wonderful? Hey. I've never played a game like this before.
That's what I was saying. That's exactly what I said. No one listens to me.
Hey, I'm doing my best,
Yeah,
guys.
so if you tap R1, it'll also switch your target to the closest enemy.
Oh. Mom? Why is it not throwing something?
That only happens if you've cast in flame. Otherwise, the first one is just a regular strike, and then you have to keep hitting X to get to the ranged attacks. There you go. Yeah, but I think he was Marta, to be fair, in Dawn of the New World Pottery, so mostly he just hung out.
Oh,
while
there's just
I
a
was wailing on
dude
everyone
here?
as a meal. Yeah. It's a fighting tournament. You think you're the only human who signed up? You fool.
Ah! Ow. Nope.
There you go.
I mean,
Look,
I
you
just
won.
spammed buttons.
I'm proud of you.
I have to turn my hand
There you
around
go.
awkwardly.
That was the first high five that Matt McGill ever did.
Okay, so do I just do next?
Yeah, press X.
Aaron,
Go
teach
next.
him how to dodge. I haven't been told the other controls yet.
I'll teach you how to dodge.
Thank you. Do I just keep going?
Yeah.
Alright. The challenger survives for now. He doesn't know what he's doing, but the battle is just getting started. If you can't take the heat, it's never too late to run from the
Oh, yeah,
fire.
that was only the first fight, by the way.
Yeah, it's fine.
So I'll tell you, you
You
can.
played Smash before. Spamming is always the first step to thank you.
Grail's not wrong. So square is what you use to block, and then if you press directionally on the left or right, the left stick while you're blocking, that's how you dodge.
Okay, and then what does triangle do?
It just opens the menu.
Your menu. Win
I don't
or
know what
go
that
home.
means.
Kill or be killed. You either walk out on your feet or crawl out on your knees. All right. That's not nice to me. I broke my knee.
It's true.
Lizard. All right. I'm gonna try blocking. Okay. Wait, how do I dodge?
Hold square and then move.
Oh,
like that.
oh,
Yeah, there you
oh,
go.
oh.
So if you do
hell.
that with perfect timing, like dodge while it's striking at you, you can recover CC that way, like you just did.
Oh wait, I did the. Oh wait, is it? There we go. I'm just trying to press the buttons.
That's
guys.
a sidestep, and then also, if you want, you can backstep by moving the left stick like away from the enemy while you're guarding. Yeah, and front step, as Grail points out.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, I pressed the thingy. There you go. Oh! Sorry.
I'll never
There we
forgive you.
go. Is there a way to, like... Oh, can you just calm the fuck down? Okay, so how do I do... What's an O spell? Why did that do anything?
It basically powers up your X spells, that specific circle of spell.
Oh, okay.
But that's just that one. The other one's
I'm
too
trying to
good.
line them up! Oh, I'm dead. Am I
Yeah, you're
dead?
petrified. I don't think you can heal yourself when you're petrified. Try triangle.
Try triangle?
Yeah, can you go down to items?
I can.
Yeah, you can't recover from being petrified because it's just you in the party. So yeah, now you're good. Okay, now you're good.
Huh?
It's only temporary.
I'm trying to dodge.
Yeah, get out of there, soldier. Don't forget you can use items to heal if you have to.
That was with this?
Yep.
Where are my items? Oh, there we go. Grape gel.
Yeah, grape gels heal you.
target. Okay, got him. Oh, run, girl.
Well, that's what I had in mind, Pottery, but at least Grace's is more generous. There you go. Yeah, you just gotta get those combos off.
Power up.
You know, if you press the left stick in
Oh my god. If I press the what?
if you press the left stick in other directions when you're pressing circle, you'll be able to use like different spells beyond inflame.
Oh, I thought you said it was the D-pad.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh. I just thought I was stupid.
No, you are stupid, but also that's how you do it.
Oh, okay. Oh wait, I thought. All right. Let's just. Ooh!
Yeah, so as Grail points out also, if you press X once to get a first hit off and then switch to like circle spells, it's much easier to land the casting spells.
I just tried that.
Well, you gotta learn the timing. It's still
I
learning.
did.
I've-
We're just gonna run for a second. We're just gonna everyone calm.
It's a niche strategy running away.
Oh.
What have you
Tuh!
done?
What just happened?
Press circle. Press the PS button.
Oh, I did the thing that I do in a. All right, okay, I got this. It's gonna be fine. Everyone, calm the fuck down. Oh.
It's true. Being dropped into a solo fight is also a hard way to learn a character. When we're doing a group bout, it will be easier.
You're mine. Fuck you.
Nice.
Oh, I tried to press the dodge button. I tried to.
You might want to heal.
No, I refuse.
Oh wow, you came through.
Oh, I'm about to get my shit kicked in.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna get the item off. Oh, you did. Nice.
I just the thing that I'm not enjoying is the. Oh, I don't like that. I'm trying to do the dodge, but sometimes it just like doesn't do what I want.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to do. Oh, so the okay, I understand. How do I switch targets again?
R1.
It's definitely okay.
Are you
It's
using
just
R2?
slow. Oh, ow!
Press L1.
Press L1.
Yeah,
Got him. Wow, this is overkill for just a little guy. But honestly, it makes me feel good about my Jesus Christ.
you needed the confidence boost.
Thank you, thank you. Oh wait. We're gonna die.
You might be able to make it.
Ah!
That was a good go for your
All
first time.
right, I
though,
tried
buddy.
my best.
You did. I'm proud of you.
Okay, I think I'm slowly understanding.
Yeah, you're slowly learning.
Better than moving around freely because it's way fast. Well, the thing I don't know, I was having a hard time with when I was trying to do directional dodges. I feel like sometimes I kept going like, whoop.
Yeah, it's hard to get the language.
Gotta get
of
that
where you
timing
move
down.
with it. Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we should move on
Yeah.
and start to do. You have to be conscious of your.
Here's your consolation prize.
Oh, thank you. What did I get?
Got a battle sword.
So how embarrassing was that?
I would not say that's embarrassing. That was your first time with a character that is typically used in group combat, and you were using her in a solo context.
All right.
So that was impressive. I'm proud of you. Here, I'll
Thank
take one
you.
on as Asbo. And I'll probably equally get my ass handed to me, so you can feel better about yourself. Good luck!
You can attack once with X and then press circle to get in a damaging spell. Gotcha, okay. Well, was my base damaging spell just a buff? The base, press?
Inflame buffs your assault arts.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it does. It basically gives them fire and makes it easier for them
Gotcha.
to hit at range. The battle is just getting started! You're gonna die!
Oh my god. Okay, so it really was painful watching you play.
It was your first time playing this game and we were dropping you in an hour 60. You did great. I cannot emphasize that enough. Everyone tell Matt he did a great job.
I did fine. Alright.
Yeah, like we said, I take all the blame and none of the credit, right, Grail? Should feel free to give him other tips. It's a team sport after all.
Alright. Hey, you know what you're doing.
Moderately. Not so much as these
Nice
fine folks in the
dodge.
chat.
I appreciated that.
Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome, Dad. Tip, don't get hit. Hey now. Hey. Don't use Smash references on me with a game I don't understand.
Whenever I saw him working on Bloodborne as I was setting the stream up, I just walked through and said, "Hey Matt, have you tried getting good?" It's like, "Oh, I don't know how to get through this crowd of enemies." Like, consider being better at the game.
A good dodge.
Thank you.
Nice. Demon Fang. He seems good.
They're all good. They're just all, as Grail was pointing out in his great write-up, they all have incredibly distinctive play styles. So it really is like you have to
It
learn
is cool.
every single character.
Pulled it off somehow.
Thank you.
You
Thank
pulled it off somehow.
Got a costume.
There you go.
I don't know what to tell you.
Hey, you.
Oh, should I try to translate her like we were saying? She's saying, "Dad, you won, but you should have done better."
Nah, you should have done better.
It's true. See if we can do better next time. Hey! Hey! Calm yourself. Calm down. Hey! She's mad that I'm not playing as her Pede. I don't know how to tell her I'm not in the game that lets you play as a dog. She doesn't respond to that. I considered it, Uncle Matt. I decided not to.
Hey.
He's working up to his best self, step by step.
Yes. Tank.
Yes. Automatillery. Cool name.
Good job pronouncing that.
Thanks, Mom. When she's moving around as much as she is, Chrissy, I don't even know how we could capture an EV cam.
It'd be impossible.
Unless it
You
were
would need
like-
like 17 GoPros.
Or to like fashion a
Stationed in
GoPro
places.
like on a fishing rod on her head so it can be looking at her as she's moving around. She would not appreciate that though.
Hey. Stop moving around. Yeah. Oh my god.
He's very cool.
Loves a good roar.
He does. Beast is a classic in the compendium of Tales arts. Just shoot a big blast of energy that looks like a beast. I was feeling like we were missing it, Grail. Is that something we already have access to, or do we need to like do another quest for it?
That guy's got a big gun.
But alas, it just makes it harder for him to get up off the ground.
That is true.
Okay, demon bag. I'll beat you down. Impossible. Pulled it off somehow.
You had a
Impossible.
20-hit combo.
Yeah, on my own, that's not bad.
Cheating.
Berserker. All right. Cheating. Fuck you. I'm trying. Yeah, let's give it a try. It'd be a good resource to have. Put it on the list. Yeah, give us some. Put some more stuff in the chat of stuff for us to do next. So I think this is the last thing you put on your original list.
Holy moly, man, woman, and child. A
Why are there
child.
children in the Colosseum? And here we go.
Be gone. Okay, gotcha. Death by moonlight. Evil be quelled. Okay, last one shot.
Oh my god, it's coughing.
I was actually thinking the eye on them looks like the Millennium Eye from Yu-Gi-Oh.
It has that vibe, too.
Gotcha. Vanish. You won't live to let destruction reign. Mow 'em down.
It's still on the list, Chrissy. I mean, do you know this game, Eternal Sonata? It's Chrissy's eternal mission to get us to play it.
To regret it.
It's supposed to be really cool, but
What kind of game is it?
it's a JRPG.
Gotcha.
But it's based on the music of, I want to say, Chopin or someone. It's very like interesting and literary. Axpeak is my one and only beloved bro. You got to be true to your favorite monster.
Was that like a perfectly timed block or something that just happened there?
Probably. I wasn't paying attention, to be honest with you. Why are you a pirate?
Purple floating. I like it. You stole cod.
Asbel is a thieving little fella.
When did you heal?
Like a minute ago. I'm a sneaky devil.
You're sneaky.
A dragon? Oh no. Oh, that's it. Yes. So, Chrissy is saying the conceit is that you're in the dreams of a dying Chopin in Eternal Sonata, which is very cool. Yes. For the conceit alone, I'm very interested in playing it. To say nothing of all of the recommendations you've made for it. But the list, Chrissy, the list is too long, and there are too many Tales games. Nah, I'm kidding. I want a million more Tales games, but that's the problem, isn't it?
Pulled it off somehow.
Nice job.
Thanks, man.
What are the stars?
Progress on the title that
Okay.
you have equipped. So that,
You
like
won the
rank of the skill.
pennant.
Ooh, the
What does
pennant.
that mean?
It means nothing. They don't have one, but survival is adequate. Oh no!
A trade.
Stand up or slink off. What'll it be?
We will survive.
Ooh.
I don't remember.
Not
how many floors there are
slime.
here. It's cool though. So you see the conceit of this Colosseum. It's like you see on the sides. It's like a platform that's progressively climbing the
I
tower
see,
as
yeah.
you fight different battles. Ugh, that's annoying. So now Asbel is poisoned, but because we have access to limited items, I don't have anything that can heal him from the poisoning. Don't like that.
Combo. Nice.
Demon bag. No escape. Kill 'em all. No escape. Fly. It's over. Rip to pieces. Stampede.
This makes you feel like a big man.
It does.
Good.
I mean, it's true, Chrissy. I had a major existential crisis even after being done with my Xenoblade Chronicles project, so I don't know how I will exist after Tales of Praxis is done. Maybe when I'm 40 and that finally happens, I'll have to face some hard truths.
I'm turning 40.
Don't you besmirch the name of Bo Burnham in my house.
I never would. I wouldn't dare.
Good.
Have you beaten the Coliseum thing before?
Certainly not on this playthrough. I don't remember whether I did it back in the day. I've said on the stream before, for whatever reason, I think it's because by the time the Coliseum opens in these games, usually it's pretty close to the end, and a lot of things that are more interesting to me have opened up that I prioritize. So I don't always finish them all the way, but I may have finished it back in the day. I just wouldn't remember.
Nice.
Alright, so this is the penultimate floor before the end, Grail says. There you go. Yeah, write your letters to Bamco, Grail. Tell them they need to make more games just to keep me chained to the stream and analytic project until my dying breath. I would do it too. In for a penny, in for a pound. You know me. Oh my god, these people hit so hard.
They do hit very
I
hard.
don't like it.
I mean, look at that big claw.
I know. Oh, I have one more. Good. I mean, not good that it's the last one, but
You can do it.
I need to be a lot more judicious with my attacks.
It's,
It wasn't over.
they have a lot of health.
Yeah, they do.
You really like that combo.
I do remember that, Grail. It's just hard for me to use it in battle. I feel like that's one of those things I never really internalized.
Now, if only you could dodge this well and smash.
I try, man.
Alright.
Hi, Doug. Lots. I think you've been gone for a while, my friend, but nice to see you again. I'm sure the gang can catch you up if you remind them where you dropped out. This is my dear friend and a fellow analyst for With a Terrible Fate, Matt McGill. He's hanging out on the stream for the next couple adventures we're going to have this evening and on Monday at our usual times.
I recently just got humbled.
Yes! I think you humbled us too, though, because again, I would say for point of reference, if you dropped me into a single-person challenge on any game that
Why are
you're
you
really
fighting
familiar
Willy
with,
Wonka?
it's such a long story, I wouldn't know where to begin. But there's deep lore, and I'm sure the gang would be happy to explain it to you. Fuck!
Dude.
This might be where I
Oh,
am.
he's drinking tea. Oh,
So
I
much worse
love
than
this
tea.
guy.
I know. It's a gentleman class of enemy, which they introduced in Tales of Eternia for point of reference, if anyone's curious. And it's nuts.
He actually blocks.
Ugh! He
Oh.
sucked me into the T vortex. I don't like it. I don't like it. This might be where I end.
Oh, he tricked you.
Why is he so good at doing that?
Oh my god, he has super armor,
He does.
but
He's
he's
unflappable.
dead. You've hit him so fucking much.
Oh, Chris, you liked your article in Soma.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a fantastic game. One of
Yeah,
the
everyone should play Soma.
most fantastically atmospheric games I've played in a long time.
Absolutely. I love everything by Frictional. They do such cool stuff.
They really do.
Oh, he can heal too? I don't like that.
You let him drink his tea.
I didn't know his tea was gonna heal him. I thought it was gonna try to kill me.
You know that tea is good for you.
Not all tea. Not hemlock tea. Oh,
Nah,
man.
ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, mommy. I don't like that there's another floor because I don't think I have another one of those in me. But I'm glad that I got there at least. Oh.
Actually, I don't want to clap. I think that set you got mad.
Sometimes she just gets Triggered by the ghosts in the apartment, I think.
You have a lot of demons.
Many. She's like a cat in that way. She has so many cat instincts. If we had a band, it would be on the field.
Oh my god.
Oh, I'm not ready for this. I'm ready to step aside. I don't want to fight anymore. I want an end to fighting. Let me join with Richard and end war.
Do it. You have to do it while fighting.
I can't do that. Richard was possessed by this creature that we ended up learning is called Lambda, that was born out of, at least as we understand it, the core of the planet. There was this alien race from which the Amarcians derived that went to what we had taken to be the only world in the world, which is called Affinia, to try to suck all the energy out of that world as resources for their own dying world. They accidentally unleashed this thing, Lambda, from the core of the world. And then in an effort to try to stop it from destroying everything and spawning monsters, they sealed it away again. That's what Richard and the party unwittingly unlocked back in the traumatic moment in the catacombs in the childhood arc. And so it turned out that that thing, Lambda, basically latched on to the body of Richard and was kind of influencing the way in which he was thinking and what it was that he was trying to do with the world. So we still don't really understand what Lambda's goals are. We know that Richard, at least maybe for his own reasons, maybe by virtue of his bond with Lambda, is still trying to kind of put an end to war in the world in the way he's always aspired to. But now it's in this twisted form of trying to kind of return all energy to the planet and sap the ability of anyone to do anything, is what it seems like. The twist that we learned last time was the party had thought that Lambda was this parasite that was possessing Richard against his will. Turns out that Lambda actually, through this series of events and conflicts, ended up getting separated from Richard, only for Richard to voluntarily call Lambda back into him. So now the party isn't sure, well, why does Richard actually want Lambda to be with him? What's going on with that relationship? That was less than 5 minutes.
That's pretty good.
We will survive.
Oh, come on, you can beat Vampire back.
And I'm sure that'll be the whole battle.
Yeah, that's all of it. You have,
I'm exposition, man. Oh no. I'm a Mother 3 character. I liked it better when I was the cliched JRPG optimist. Can we go back to calling me that?
I like that. Would you like more beer?
I would, please. I'm gonna need it after I get wasted here. Because we don't get items refreshed, right? Yeah.
I was gonna say, are you out of heals?
I am out of heals. I can do this, but it's not gonna be enough to get me through.
You're gonna do great.
That ice swipe attack always goes wherever I'm going to be.
Don't do that. Never do that again. Alright.
I don't know if
Well, that was eye-opening.
Yeah? Is that edifying for you?
Yeah.
Okay. I was so close.
What is your consolation prize?
It's a drink that
Nice
gives us a
job.
lot of points for our title development, which is something. Oh, and we got an
Okay.
elixir. That's good. And a hand-drawn map.
my
A
God.
map indicating the location where the Stratton officials are being held. That seems important.
I think
Oh,
this
we got
means
a
that
lot of things,
We
actually.
have to beat it.
We can come back.
Okay, fine. We can
We're
come
at-
back.
we're
I
at-
know there are important things.
Here's the thing.
I'm guessing Grail knows where we need to go next.
Yeah, and we're at level like 50 something. The levels go up quite a bit, so we will have an easier time later.
Okay,
on.
okay. I can come back and embarrass myself less. I want to fight with you.
I know. I do
I
too.
want to do my big spells. I can actually press the buttons without being under
know.
constant pressure.
I'm bummed. It's nice that it lets you start at higher floors, but like pretty much always in these games in the Colosseums, there are also group bouts. So I was hoping we'd be able to do one together, but maybe that just opens later or something.
What is the chest over in the corner? Are you gonna open it?
Well, it's a locked chest with a password, and we didn't find the password.
The password is very clearly
Go ahead.
ABCDE.
I was really hoping you would say something funny.
Like
there,
with a
Mark, I'm
terrible
gonna be
fate. I
honest.
don't know. I don't have jokes for everything.
They call me Aaron Terrible.
I've
Fate.
been
Did you know
still.
that? So
I've
now
been-
you can be
dude,
Matt.
you don't
Terrible
understand
Fate.
how long I've been waiting during the stream to make a Sophie's Choice joke, and it's been 2 goddamn hours, and I still haven't been able to because Sophie has been off planting seeds and doing nothing else.
He made a joke with like me explaining the game to him for all of 2 minutes before the stream about Sophie's Choice, and I looked him dead in the face and I said, I can't believe I've been playing this game for 60 hours and I never made a Sophie's Choice joke.
Your neighbors all have very, very pretty Christmas lights.
I know, they're big into holiday decorations in the neighborhood. Okay, there's a star at the end of Bathos Citadel. Okay. Is that a fight we can actually do, or is it another one that we'll waste Matt as a joke?
Embarrassed? Hey, I know more. I know at least what like 3 of the buttons do at this point. So
That's small steps, right?
daily medicine.
That seems important.
Daily medicine.
Matt.
Sorry.
Sailor friend of mine said he saw some weird ruins on a deserted island.
But
That
can he
sounds like
tell
a
you
place
where
we
they
can
were?
find. Well, one thing that we can do now that we have the ability to fly around and search the map is that we have this cool ability to discover, well, do what I just did and discover locations we actually haven't been before. So it kind of feels like it is telling us that, oh, if you go to a deserted island, you can find some cool ruins.
Cool.
But I'm interested since I just stumbled upon this one. Oh, should I not go to the shuttle crash site? Is that a bad idea, Grail? See, this is the problem. You get so much freedom at this point, and sometimes they'll ask you to stumble into things that you shouldn't do yet, because they'll mess you up, like we did earlier in the stream.
Yeah, that dragon was like the dragon boy from.
Yeah, the Dragon Boy, yeah.
Why haven't you beaten him yet?
Because I suck. Okay, Grail is saying we should save this. So
Oh, okay,
I trust
okay,
your
okay.
judgment, Grail.
I trust Grail.
Doug, so you had a feeling of where we were gonna go? Yeah, it was really fun to watch you. Doug has been with us since the beginning of the stream, and he's been playing like the theory game of trying to understand, like, all right, what's going on in the game when it's giving us limited information.
Gotcha.
And fun to see that. Are there any other cool ruins we can find? I don't know. So Bathos, is that where we should go next? No, but I'd like you to give us some direction in terms of what to do next. Or we can just go on in the main story.
We can do main story.
Yeah, why don't we go on? Well, okay. Yeah, I'll make the executive decision. Let's adventure a little bit further in the main story just
Let's
because,
do it.
as Grail said, we don't get shut out of anything until we go into the next dungeon. So that way we can just experience a bit more of what's going on, and then as more side content comes up, we can pivot back
You
to
guys
that.
got to watch and laugh at us try to do combat, so
You were great for your first fight ever in a game like this.
hell yeah.
Huge. Matt is very good at video games.
I want to fight with my friends. Isn't
Well,
that a thing? Who says that?
You?
I fight for my friend. Ike.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
You
Pulling
love
out
Fire
the deep
Emblem.
cut Smash Bros stuff. I don't know Fire Emblem.
I thought you had played. It was a Dan who had played them.
Dan
One
might
of you
have.
two. Dan's played every video game.
That's true.
There is
No,
not
I've never
a-
been a Fire Emblem guy.
Oh, okay,
I
okay,
got
it was
into
Dan
the
then.
mobile game for a little bit back when I was a degenerate and losing too much of my time to mobile games, but that was just because I stumbled upon the mobile game. Not that I'm big into
Ike
Fire
Smash
Emblem.
Bros is cool. Ike Smash Bros is cool. Guys, my gaming knowledge is
I think
a
we're on
little
this channel.
limited, but I try my best.
Your gaming knowledge is not limited. You have ample gaming knowledge. All right, here we go.
Wow, this
So,
truly is the
I
Dark
need to speak with
Souls of
Sophie for a
Tales.
moment.
No, it's not, and I don't have time to explain to you why that's the
No.
case.
Do you mind getting started without us?
No, that's fine.
Thanks. We'll be right
Thank
back.
you. I'm right.
No, I'll go to war with you on
I'm
this.
right.
My gut answer was actually, and it's only my gut answer because I've written about it in the past. And that's not just as an excuse to dump my work on you, but because it is not as an actual Tales game, but when I think, what is the Dark Souls of a Tales game? I think that is a really fun way of introducing another game that I love to people, which is Code Vein. And if you love these games and you love Dark Souls styled storytelling and gameplay and you haven't played Code Vein, you should do that. Yeah, Genshin Impact.
Wait, do you know? Do you have mobile games that you would recommend? I guess I don't. I'm not.
No.
I don't really do the deep mobile gaming personally.
I never got any joy out of it. I just fell into the addictive gameplay loop for a while because I am big into Final Fantasy, and they got me with their mobile game, Brave Exvius, for a time. So it was just like a nice way to lose myself in something other than work back when I was doing a job that I didn't really love, but I got very little out of it.
Does Magic have a mobile thing?
They have a mobile version of the card game, Magic Arena, which they're trying to make very popular, but even that, like, it makes me cringe because to me so much of Magic is like the physical attribute of the cards, and you obviously don't get that in the mobile game.
Come on, Sophie.
My phone is very bad battery life.
Yeah, data privacy is concerning too, for sure.
They all have our social security numbers. They do.
Yeah, no one's safe from anything, that's true.
Just say it out loud to Twitch.
Don't think I'm gonna do that.
Just throw your credit card number into Twitch chat.
Well, I just wanted to say that I'm happy.
You're happy?
I'm happy you didn't die. If you had sacrificed yourself, well, we wouldn't be able to talk like this. Just thinking about it makes me sad.
The side
Is
XD type.
dying
Good job.
sad?
Thanks, man.
Perfect.
Well, yeah. I mean, once someone dies, they're gone. You can't talk to them or tell them stupid jokes or do anything. I mean, what if we all died and you never saw us again? Think about it.
I don't want to think about it. It makes my chest heavy. It makes me hurt.
That's sadness. See? You do know what it means.
If you all died, I would be sad.
Well, that's how we feel every time you try to sacrifice yourself.
Can you stop trying
Even
to
Asbel?
sacrifice yourself?
Oh, especially Asbel. I think he's more concerned than any of us.
This is really interesting because we've been talking about how, like, the nature of Sophie as someone who is kind of proto-human and, like, very literally trying to figure out what it is to be a human is,
Yeah.
like, deeply Buddhist in terms of just, like, based on her not knowing how to be human, she's, like, figuring out a lot about the human
And
condition.
an understanding of death, obviously.
Especially because she has, like, literally died and been reconstituted.
And literally has it programmed in her that she's like, I will do this,
Yeah.
and this is what I'm supposed
So
to do.
thinking about the meaning of death and rebirth and self-sacrifice from a place where she has a unique awareness of and sentience relative to that. And then also layered in with the fact that way earlier in the game when she was first, like, being born and making friends with these people, like, she came to understand and think about being human in terms of asking them, like, what are you talking about when you say that makes you happy? And oh, when you're smiling, like, is that saying that you're happy? Is that a good thing? And so it was like kind of guiding and orienting herself according to that happiness. And now that we're kind of on the other end of the pole of the arc and her impetus to self-sacrifice, like the other end of that equation is thinking about not what would make you happy, but what would make you sad. And sort of seeing that as the other emotional boundary tethering us to our personal identity and our relationships.
That's why he was so angry at you.
Being sad made him angry?
Well, remember when you vanished 7 years ago? He acted the same way then. I tried to talk to him, but it only made things worse. And so I just waited around and cried a lot. And blamed Asbel, I suppose. But now I realize he was hurting just like me, and getting mad was all he could do. Men are bad at feelings. Sometimes getting angry is all they really know.
We are pretty bad at feelings.
So he was angry.
I am from
because he
Boston.
was
I'm
sad?
generally
That's
angry all the
strange.
time.
Bostonians are bad at feelings. Bostonians are bad.
I'm just defensive. Hey, we're not bad.
That took you a minute.
I'm just
So you're not
emotionally
actually
defensive.
expressing feelings either.
I'm not?
The look away.
Jeez, how long are they gonna stay out there?
That is a very good point, Grail. She did overlook bringing that into the conversation, didn't she?
I'll go see what's up.
I'm staying here. If you're going to go, then go. What are you doing? Go on already. This is interesting because there are many times in these games when the party breaks up as an opportunity for you to have little conversations with everyone, but now speaking with everyone, they're basically just
They're
telling
just saying,
you
like,
to
don't talk
go
to
and
me.
check on them. Yeah, kind of directing
Who is that?
the avatar's attention. Maid, I think. Oh, you hear that? My Pascal super stomach alarm is ringing. Hurry it up already. And then meanwhile, Pascal is being Pascal.
And I knew that's why I liked Pascal.
See,
Wow.
and the fact that you could intuit that even before you started
I am
playing
also
as her.
food motivated.
Yeah. We'll always be waiting for you and Master Hubert to return home, Master Asbel. Must be outside.
I'm bad at feelings.
No. You're not.
I
bad at
missed
feelings.
something.
You have a hard time telling people what you really think.
I don't know what to tell you.
Well, you've probably spent
This
too
is
much
someone
time with
explain.
Asbel. He's always been the same way. It'll be all right. You just have to talk to him.
Okay, I will explain. She's one of those people, and I guess this is kind of like you, where like Pascal is very smart, but she has no willingness to explain like the science of what she's doing to anyone. So she'll like use nonsense words instead of like the technology. So she's like, you just gotta ka-chank it a little bit.
I do that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so you're a ka-chank gamer.
I
person.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Alright. That was
I've
easier to
never
explain
been
than I
read
feared
so
it might be.
fast.
Yeah. Yeah. So see, you didn't have to see it. We could explain it to him when we put our heads together.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Find out why he feels the way he does. Do you know what I mean?
Hey there, are you guys still talking?
Asbel, hey, Sophie needs to talk to you right now, if you don't mind.
Oh, she does?
Go on.
Be a human, man.
Okay, I'll see you guys inside whenever you're done.
Hey there. So tell me, what's going on?
I'm subbing in for your
Yeah.
feelings.
She said that I had to talk to you.
She did? Sharia, I swear.
Asbel, do you think that we are the same?
Is that what Sharia said? Yeah, I guess we're kind of the same. We both make up our minds and refuse to listen to anyone. You think you're the only one who can destroy Lambda, and I'm determined to pull it off anyway. And without you having to die. Hold on, I'm not finished yet. You have so much life left, Sophie. You have so many things to see and learn. And that's why you can't run around trying to sacrifice yourself all the time. You know? I mean, that makes sense, right? I'm sure there are all kinds of things you'd like to see and do.
There are some things that I would like to see. I want to see the Vesperia become a blossom gale.
Oh, that's right. I remember. We talked about that when you planted them. You see, there's still so much in this world that you need to experience for yourself. So that's why you can't die yet. All of these things are waiting for you. We're just getting started. Your life and ours.
Thank goodness. I thought you were angry at me.
Oh, well,
that you get angry when you're sad.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess that I do.
I'm glad that you weren't really angry. I want you to always be happy. Now and forever.
I guess I could use a lecture, too. Okay, come on. We should get back before they send out a search party for us. So, let's go, all right?
Okay.
When she has died in the past,
Yeah.
Okay.
does she retain memories from her past?
So this was one of the really interesting things about considering the game in a framework of reincarnation, because basically from the first time she was constituted and met the party, she didn't have any memories of her past, like on that alien world when she was being engineered or anything. And then after she died in the first confrontation with Lambda, when she came back, she didn't remember anything. And so the party, like, they literally didn't know, is this actually Sophie or is this someone who just looks exactly like her? And then it was only after she re-encountered Richard possessed by Lambda and stood up to him and fought him off that she got back all of her memories. So that idea of thinking about, like,
What dying means for her is... No, I was just
the
wondering.
nature
'cause
of experience across the liminality of death.
Yeah. Huh.
What made you think about that?
Well, no. I mean, they were so hung up on the idea of her being overly enthusiastic about sacrificing herself because it's like ingrained in how she's programmed. But if she can be reincarnated and retain all of her memories, then like, what does it mean to sacrifice oneself in that situation?
That's a really good question. Yep. And I think that's something that, unsurprisingly, like, even though this is your first, 2 hours playing the game, points to the heart at a lot of what it is that it's thinking about and what I wanted to call out about that scene too, because, if you have this idea of reincarnation and persistence across death, I think the notion of sacrifice very immediately becomes different, because it's less a question of this absolute annihilation of yourself and more a question of, what is the intention according to which you're doing it? 'Cause,
Yeah.
if you think about in the Buddhist framework, they have this idea of a bodhisattva, right? Like someone who is enlightened, but willingly decides to go through the mortal cycle of life in order to try to save as many people as possible, oftentimes by sacrificing himself, but through these well-intentioned ways of helping other people achieve enlightenment, right? And so I think, to me, the thing that was really cool and interesting about that scene that you don't get in other games, even something like Tales of Symphonia, which is also really concerned with it's wrong to sacrifice yourself and no life should be born for the sole purpose of dying, is this idea of there being intrinsic value to people just being able to have their experiences and make of it what they want. That idea of what Asbel was saying to Sophie of, there are things that you want to see in the world that you haven't yet, and it's important that you have the opportunity to experience those things, right? And so if you're able to, extend yourself in a way that supports others without annihilating or dishonoring yourself, you should do that. But sacrificing yourself in the sense of devaluing your own point of view or what you contribute to the world, that's the ultimate suicide.
I see.
And
That's the sacrifice. Yeah,
which
okay,
is
okay,
more
I
important
understand.
than thinking about self-sacrifice as a form of death or something like that, right? Which seen through this framework does less violence to the self.
It's almost like it's like a death of self or purpose.
Death of the
or something.
identity.
Yeah. Okay.
Something really cool.
I like
also.
that. That's cool.
Yeah. And neat even in the way that scene is framed, because notice, the way it was presented was very similar to what we were talking about in the side quest with Sharia and Asbel, where Sharia comes in and says, look, you two need to have a conversation. I'm going to leave. And so Sharia recognizes that, it's not a relationship that she's involved in, but it's one that she needs to help support and create a context for. And I think that idea of an ethic that derives not from getting other people to believe in the same thing that you do, or even getting them to be your best friends in a relationship with you, but just supporting their autonomy and point of view in helping them to like recognize and value the different relationships in their life. Like that's something that I think is really remarkably mature and shows like a form of empowerment to others that you don't oftentimes see in the real world, but even in other games that are concerned with these sorts of things like JRPGs. So really cool to see and think
That was a
about.
cool
I think.
scene.
I love it. And it's the tip of the iceberg with these kinds of games. And to tie that to what you said, Grail, because I think that's a really interesting question. Does Asbel have any friends besides Richard and Sophie? And what I would say is exactly in the spirit that we're talking about, I think one of the really challenging and more subtle things about Graces is that the more we're decomposing the idea of relationship in this game and how like genuinely unique each relationship that a person has is, and how each one can be defined by a range of different and very specific titles. It's almost like, I think there's a sense in which I almost want to say like it's not sufficiently descriptive to call someone friends with someone else, because like the relationship that Asbel has with Sophie is very different than the relationship he has with Richard or Pascal. And it's not as if one of those takes priority over the other. I think like part of the lesson of the game and why it is that none of the characters get insight into every relationship of the other characters is that all of these relationships are distinctly valuable and therefore incommensurable with one another, which is to say you can't just equate or weigh your bond with someone against your bond with someone else. They just offer materially distinctive modes of experiencing the world and relating to someone else. So, those are my thoughts.
I'm glad we went along with the main storyline.
Pretty good, right?
Let's start by establishing what we know.
Also, Malik is voiced by my favorite voice actor in the world,
Who?
Jamieson Price.
That's my dad.
I don't think he's your dad. Oh, wouldn't that be cool though if Jamieson Price were your dad? Jamieson, adopt me, please.
We should assume that Lambda is already at the Lestalia.
That's the center of the world.
Okay.
The path is open, and his powers have grown. He has no reason to wait.
Except for plot
This is our
purposes.
last chance.
That's right.
If he manages to fuse with the core,
But Sophie, what about the side quests? Damn, Hubert, you make a compelling point.
I think we know where we stand. Next question. Do we possess the strength to defeat Lambda? Without sacrificing Sophie, of course.
This whole time I thought we were fighting Richard.
We're
So
fighting
it's possible
ourselves.
we didn't go
Damn.
all out when we fought him before, you know?
That is usually the core revelation of most JRPGs.
But I think I have an idea about that. Remember how Lambda split off from Richard and hopped into Emerald?
It's true.
Well, maybe we can make him do it again. And then rescue Richard while they're separated.
Science.
I think it might be possible.
Regardless, we must prepare ourselves for the worst-case scenario.
no, I won't let it come to that. I won't.
Everyone, there's something we must do before we leave. Going to the Lost Talia will be like entering Lambda himself. If we aren't prepared, there's a chance his mind will overwhelm us.
It's tying into something we talked about on the last couple streams, albeit prematurely, but one of my other favorite things about JRPGs is that the final dungeons oftentimes either very literally or else symbolically embody, to Grail's earlier joke, the antagonist of the game in a certain
Dude,
way.
I literally thought about Earthbound.
Oh yeah,
In
no
the
shit.
end of Earthbound,
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
said that,
Yep,
which
great
is
example.
like its
Yep,
own
yep.
kind of, caricature of a JRPG. when it
Gygus,
was
my
made,
beloved.
Right? Yeah, and the
Yep.
end kind of feels like
Yep,
that.
yep. It's a great comparison.
So we all need to go to the meadow. Together.
Since I'm just advertising everything on this Friday stream.
Max's work is so cool.
This, especially on a stream where we're shouting out how awesome analysts besides myself are, far awesomer than I. Amazing series of incredibly literary and incisive articles about everything you would want to think about on the topic of Earthbound by another dear friend and colleague of mine, Max Gorinsky. Read those. You will love them.
The meadow. You mean the place we first met?
If Sophie thinks it'll help, then we should go.
Okay, let's take this meeting to the meadow.
Back to
Family
the
meeting
tree.
by the tree.
There's always a tree. There's always a lighthouse. There's always a space-time continuum.
Oh my god. Are we getting to that point of the game where just like shit hits the fan? They're just like, and this is the space-time rift.
I mean, it's a JRPG, so it's more like the act that hits the fan.
Okay,
which
okay,
spans,
yeah,
like,
I mean,
20
you're
to
right, you're right,
25
you're right.
hours.
Yeah, okay. The 25 hours
Yeah.
of fuckery.
I almost wish that I had timed it so that you would come in on the last stream, because like we would be working through a nightmare dungeon that looks like it came out of someone's like fever dreams.
Oh, cool. You were listening to an old podcast.
They hold up. I'm so glad that people are still getting value out of them. Yeah, Max, he's such a renaissance man, and he's busy with other things now, but I perpetually wish for him to return and do more work on With a Terrible Fate.
He's doing
because
well, though.
He is, yeah. I'm sure he won't mind me shouting this out. He has a lot of various irons in the fire in sort of the tech and startup space, but his main project right now is actually, in an interesting way, I think will be interesting to the stream. He's kind of trying to scale the experience that he and I organically had through With a Terrible Fate, namely trying to more efficiently help people to connect based on shared interests that they never would realize with other people in the ordinary world. So kind of like a very tightly like manicured and engineered like social media experience designed to like help you find and make real friends based on your interests.
Cool.
Which is underselling it. That sounds very generic when I put it that way, but he's trying to sort of like use a lot of more modern innovations in technology like NLP and like AI sorting technologies to do it in an interesting and valuable way. Yeah, I would say that like Reddit but IRL is a good
I
proxy
kinda
for
like
it,
that,
'cause
yeah.
I don't know whether Max would agree with that, but that
Wait, did they
strikes
send
me as a
that?
good reading
Did they
of it.
send that message at the same time? Like Reddit. So like Reddit.
Again, when he talks about it, he has a vision for it that I think is interesting, and there's a reason he's the CEO and I am not.
Nice dodges, nice dodges. Is that a heal?
Yes, it is a pure source of water that purifies and heals, I think. I don't know.
I think
we got the
this
story
to
on
me
it
is my
once.
pure source of water.
There's a reason
I
that
sound like an alcoholic. I promise I'm fine, everyone.
No, I mean, I meant what I said. I think it's so nice to be able to chart the aesthetic experiences of a certain medium with someone who is really attuned to them, and I think certainly the gastronomical arts are included among those.
More flowers.
Maybe the skit is afterwards. Yeah, lots of flowers.
Perhaps I'm going insane.
I feel like it's not been totally on the money for tracking skits, the guide you've been using, Grail, so I wouldn't worry about that.
First, I'm going to absorb the Elith here.
That's what I would do.
Elith is the like the fundamental energy of
The
world.
energy that's
right.
the nuclear energy.
Right.
And then I'll share it with you.
It is kind of interesting. This is one of those games that makes me wish, you'll be shocked to hear this, that I knew more about ancient philosophy, because it actually has some interesting things to say about like a conception of the world according to fundamental elements in the way that a lot of like the ancient Greek philosophers thought about things like physics and the natural sciences. So there's enough Greek in other places in the game to make me think that they might be intentionally riffing on that, but my ancient philosophy isn't good enough to really dig into that.
This will let us combat the effects of Lambda's mind.
She's going to be a psychic counterpoint to Lambda.
With the power of friendship.
In a metaphysically grounded way, because it's a JRPG. So, like, yes, and how cool and deep is that cliche after all? That tends to be the lesson of a lot of JRPGs.
So why is she able to gather the energy?
She is a specific kind of organism that was mechanically engineered to like absorb and manipulate Eleth in a particular way.
Seems a bit Terminator.
Yes,
That
a little
seems
Terminator,
like
yeah.
spooky. Like if she just, I mean, I guess she's programmed to want to do a certain thing.
Well, she was designed as a weapon, so it is spooky.
Okay.
Yeah, like she was engineered to be this weapon to destroy Lambda, so that's kind of part of what she's wrestling with. Like her underlying purpose is to be this weapon, but of course she wants much more than that for herself now. But yeah, an interesting game because like I joke metaphysically grounded power of friendship, but like there's that kind of scientific explanation for like we can clearly understand and point out in the world like why Sophie is able to do this, and then also like because of what I was talking about in terms of how she is able to distribute her particles to her friends.
Yeah.
And then also even the ones who weren't there back then have since traveling to the alien world like forged these rings with the same like metal that resonates with Sophie in order to be able to participate in her powers. So like it's a really tight metaphor, and it's one that is like coherently and completely explained according to the facts on the ground of what's happening in this world, which is pretty cool and unusual. See, you say that, and now I just want to not press X.
Let's just stay here for another.
This is going to be the rest of the
Can
stream.
you actually
Thanks
read
to
your writing
Grail.
sample right now for grad school?
Oh,
and
no.
Just run through it. For
I might
us?
lose my mind even more than I already have if we do that.
It's totally warm.
It's like standing in sunlight.
Yes.
Sophie.
I miss Silent Hill.
Okay,
Me
we
too.
should be ready now.
I almost feel like that, like the note of calming resonance with that particular frequency, like with everything else this game says about particles and wavelengths and the continuity of energy, like I feel as though even having that particular sonic cue was probably a thoughtful way of expounding on.
Are you trying to talk to me
Sophie's
about
things.
ears right now?
Oh my god, I forgot I was talking to someone who literally has a PhD in ears. I made one of the common blunders.
Sophie has given us the power we need to face Lambda in our final showdown. If we use it wisely, there will be Sophie to be sacrificed.
Yeah, I'll be all like, bow! And then Lambda will be all like, no!
Ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Go, there we go. We got
We're
there.
all in this together, Sophie. So just promise that you won't do anything foolish.
Sophie uses self-destruct.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all just trying to talk Voltorb into not using self-destruct.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. We did it. We got the energy.
We did.
It's not very effective.
It never is.
No foreshadowing. Don't spoil it. Sophie. Yeah. But she can be
Oh,
revived.
Grail wants to lean on your scientific background and ears.
Dude, binaural sound waves actually have the power to alter reality.
Do you know what Grail means? That means nothing to me.
I don't know. Are you talking about hallucination? I mean, reality is just what we perceive of it, right?
I think so. So can it alter your like perception?
I mean, my favorite thing, of a fun thing. So you know how, like, if you go to a rock concert and you hurt your ears, you can get ringing in your ear?
I do know that.
Called tinnitus.
Yes.
There are certain ways that you can play sound to people, so you can artificially create tinnitus in their ears for a period of time. It's kind of the same way that you can have image after effects. If I show you images with a certain colors,
Yeah.
and then I have you stare at something white, you see inverted color schemes briefly. It's because you saturate the cones.
Yeah.
So you can kind of do that with sound, where you like give certain sound frequencies, and then the rebound is that then you hear kind of this like missing part of the frequency spectrum ring in your ear for a period of time.
Sounds like some new ageists on YouTube have co-opted that for the power of positive thinking.
It's crazy how easily you can manipulate perception with like small little tricks.
That reminds me, I don't know if this is the same rabbit hole that Grail is talking about, but one of my favorite modules in like the psych courses that I took in undergrad were thinking about just like, how much little sort of illusions of perception can change like how we psychologize and think about like our relationship with the world and what it is that we're seeing.
I mean, color is the easiest example. I mean, everyone memes and says
sure,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, is my green your green?" But like, people who are colorblind have a completely warped perception.
Yeah.
In some ways of like how they perceive the things that you
It's
are
come up on the
saying to
stream
them.
because I'm colorblind.
Well, you're colorblind?
A little bit, yeah. Just
Wait,
with certain
really?
colors.
I didn't know
but-
that. What-
Well, it rarely comes up, but it was funny because we were doing like a color-based puzzle in Tales of Graces, and like I had trouble like distinguishing the blocks of different colors because they were like just in the right spectrum of colors for me to like not be able to tell which one was which. So
Oh, I like the point about height. Yeah, so that's a fun one that I used to do when I would teach like auditory neuroscience to like college students, and my favorite thing is that I play them like a sound that increases its frequency over time, and I tell everyone to lower their hand when they can't hear it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just really funny to see all the older people drop their hands, and then all the younger people are just sitting there being like, I can still hear it.
right.
I did not know that you had like some form of colorblindness.
A little bit, yeah. It's mild, but I remember being so like stuck in my own ego when an optometrist first diagnosed me when I was really little that I was like, no, the doctor's just lying. I can see color, and like it's only after I've become older and have very clearly not been able to determine it. I was like, oh, he was right back in the day. I was just a jackass little kid who didn't want to believe that about myself.
Our bodies are very good at compensating and convincing us of how they're compensating.
It's a very scientifically generous way of trying to make me feel better about
Wait,
my
no,
own
but it is.
stupidity.
We all have things, right? I
It's
mean,
true.
it's the same way as like having
compensation
worse
for
vision,
our blind spots. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's fun. Anyway, sorry, I put us on a tangent.
okay. It's a
I
good
appreciate
tangent.
everyone's comments.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Damn, and see, now I can't even tell what color Grail is holding up, and the only reason is because I'm colorblind.
Why are you talking like that? I mean, it's cute, but it's freaking me out a little. It's how Hubert talks. I thought if I did the same thing, you'd be more
I need to do
likely
it like a
answer.
sciencey stream at some point with you.
Sharia, if you
I think
were in
people would love
with
that. I would
Aslan,
love
I think
that.
people
why
are
don't you
liking
just
it.
tell him?
Oh, they're getting so direct about
You
this
just told
as the
me
story goes
yesterday.
on.
I heard a scream. What's going on?
This doesn't involve you, Asbel.
Get
Get
the
out of
fuck
here.
out.
It does
No.
involve
How do you
Asbel.
know?
She loves him, but she's angry. Is that what she meant about people being angry because they're sad? Feelings are difficult.
She's beautiful,
Live view
but she's
of
dying.
me in a relationship talking today.
Oh no.
Difficult her behavior can be to handle.
No, that's not what I was thinking at all.
Descend. Dude, just descend into darkness.
No.
Why not?
We've already done that more than once, Matt. Our darkness lies elsewhere.
Your dark. I think your darkness is right now. Oh wow. Those.
Oh!
Oh shit.
That's the real darkness.
Can I make like a random comment?
No.
You save so goddamn much.
It's because there's a method to my madness. It's because one of my first experiences in Tales of Praxis was working through the famously janky remastered version of Tales of Symphonia. That was the first one we streamed.
I remember that.
And I felt like I was back in 2003 because there was a glitch in it that made me lose like at least 20 minutes of gameplay because I couldn't recover until my previous save, and it just like it glitched out of the game. So ever since then, I have been obsessive about saving.
I'll be the judge of that matter, you two. The matter of darkness. Really good.
I know, it's been a Sharia-centric stream, which I did not expect. But you know, that's nice. I feel like she's been underrepresented in the last leg of the story, so it's
And I'm
nice
like,
for
sure,
her
it's
to-
so important.
She has an interesting perspective on these things because so much of her relationship palette is wished for relationships as opposed to the reality for relationships, which, like we were talking about before, I think adds some nice texture.
And make sure
to
you
it.
save again.
I was okay.
You only walked.
The other reason is that oftentimes you can only access new skits at save points. They're tethered to save
Okay,
points.
okay.
So
I
there's
didn't
a
understand-
reason. There's a reason. Oh no.
I'm still gonna roast you about it.
I know.
You should.
are,
Can you
buddy.
go back and save though? I want to make
I'm
sure.
gonna
that-
fucking kill you, Matt.
lot today. Let's rest up and meet in the square tomorrow morning.
I agree,
Sleep
Malik.
if you can, and make whatever preparations you require. Understood?
It is true. He's the dad of the group. If I didn't mention this already, he is 40 years old, and everyone else is like 17 or
I was
18.
gonna say, RC, like
He's
just a
basically
whole
their
ass
babysitter.
children.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
I've been saying throughout this game, like, I know I'm getting older because I oftentimes empathize much more with Malik than with the kids he's babysitting.
Well, I just like that one of the kids he's babysitting is just like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself, and he's like, wait,
Hang on.
let's walk that back. You talk me through it. It's 22 or something.
Literally, that's what she says.
This
yes.
something.
I'm like 22 or something.
Time to go
Which
to
is
bed.
all you need to know. She's basically like 16.
Based on
but
the colors
22.
of his clothes, they kind of look like pajamas.
I guess I can kind of see that, yeah.
Like
Fancy-
if you
fancy boy
if you
pajamas.
squinted your eyes and you were colorblind.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'll stop.
You see the lotus flower on the back? See, that's what I was talking
Oh,
about.
okay,
before.
okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I think that's what it's supposed to be because it fits with everything else. And
We
I don't know
can
what it would
we
be
can just
otherwise.
agree that that's how it's supposed to be.
Good, thank you.
Can you go steal the handkerchief back?
Why would you do that to
You
that
just
poor
punch him
man?
and take the handkerchief.
What's
back?
wrong with you, man?
I don't know. He didn't deserve our help.
Grail, you don't silently roast me. You always roast me aloud. I choose to believe that because if you roasted me more on top of all the roasts you actually do in the stream, I would feel very sad.
I'm just happy that there's someone to roast you at all
Can't sleep,
times.
Hubert?
That's his
It's
job.
a full-time goddamn job.
He guides me through the game, and he also roasts me as I go. It's full service.
I could ask the same of you. But as you're here, there's something we should talk about. When this is over, I'm going to ask the president of Strata to withdraw his forces from Lant.
So I don't know if I mentioned it, but Strata is the name of the democratic country that he was spirited away to. as a
Okay.
kid.
If he agrees,
When
he
they
will become
sold
Lord
his
of Lant
ass.
in
That
both
basically,
name
right?
and deed. I trust you find this acceptable. Hubert, you would do that?
Hubert would do that.
I've thought long and hard about who should be entrusted with Lant, but in the end, you are the only real choice. However, at the moment, this idea ends with me. I do not know how the president will react. I understand, but I'm still grateful.
No, you don't actually roast me, Grail. I was just messing with you because you said you silently roast
You're
me.
great. You help him more than you hurt him.
You know I love you, man.
The next time I visit Lant, I'll come as family. After all, people will rest easier if someone is looking over your shoulder. You have no idea how much trouble it is having you as an older brother. I can only guess. Enough. I
What's,
should
on,
rest.
what's the crest on his back?
Oh, well, actually, now that I'm in this Buddhist mindset, it reminds me very naturally of the, like the Wheel of Samsara, which has 8 realms, because if
It's
you
a circle, man.
No,
That's
look,
more
look.
than a circle.
It's split into 8 sections.
Yes.
So you could think of it as the wheel. In a game that is very samsaric, I don't feel like that's that much of a reach. There might be a more direct symbolic corollary to it, but especially with the lotus on Asbel's back, that feels actually like two sides of a Buddhist coin in a way that makes a lot of sense for their characters. That is interesting for us to tease out as we think more about their relationships, actually.
Or it's just a circle.
I'm warning you ahead of time. We're going to have an East Asian studies scholar here with us on Monday, so I'll ask him about it, and you'll be outvoted.
I'll just be kind of on the side being like, yes, Dan.
That's right.
Sleep well,
Oh,
Hubert.
Dan.
I wonder if everyone else is asleep.
Check their beds.
Walk into their rooms.
Just be real awkward about it.
Yo, I heard this is the point where we're supposed to have our final heart-to-hearts before the confrontation. Wake up. Samsara is also a circle, so just to be clear, those are not mutually incompatible interpretations.
Is it wrong for a son to visit his mother?
Yes.
No, not at all. I'm very pleased to see you. Would you like some tea? Frederick has just brought back the most wonderful
Frederick?
blend.
Tea would be wonderful.
Good. I'll go prepare some right away.
He looks so mad.
Mother.
It's really interesting because this is something I've been mulling since that scene between Asbel and Sophie as well. I think a corollary of everyone having the autonomy to like attach the value they want to their relationships is that they are also able to invest in those relationships in different emotional ways according to what makes sense to their identity. Because something that's really interesting to me about Hubert, and this has come up at various points in the stream, is he's someone who I think honestly comes by a lot of emotions of resentment and anger and protectiveness and a need to control because of how he was so out of control and sidelined in his youth. And so he's very exacting as a military commander. He has a lot of, even now when he's like friends with his brother again, like a begrudging attitude towards Asbel and his mother. And I think there's an interesting sense in which, especially now as he has grown and developed these bonds, that's not to say that he's not attached to those people, but he does so through an air that's almost kind of haughty with an affect of kind of anger or resentment. But that for him is like an authentic attachment to that relationship, right? It doesn't always have to be like all lovey-dovey and passionate and positive and affirming to be a genuine and meaningful relationship. You know, like it depends a lot on the individual person and how it is that they want to express
Is
themselves.
it trauma response?
Maybe, yeah, but I think like a self-consciously interpreted and integrated trauma response, which I think is part of what this game is concerned with, right? Because it's very directly about trauma response. But
That's true. The whole thing is about a trauma response, right?
And
it's central.
and notice like how cool it is, because I mean you wouldn't be able to see this, but like viewers who have been with us, like the characters who had been through that trauma were very clearly coping with it in much more like protective and egoistic and unhealthy ways when we first saw them after the time skip. Now it's like it's the maturity, I would say, to not try to like repress or ignore that trauma, but to integrate that trauma response into their identity and how they want to engage with the world in a more self-conscious way.
That's very personal.
Yeah.
I can speak from personal experience and say that when I or I know others have experienced moments of trauma or something difficult, that often those big moments can be met with like in due time useful reflection and learning. So
Absolutely.
that's something I don't think I learned until I became much older. Definitely older than 17.
That's one of those things I'm fucking saying, man. I mean, there's a reason that we spend so much time thinking about JRPGs here. I think they really are concerned with the source code of what it is to like actually develop as a person, not just in the sense of an interesting story. And really like the more I come back to these games, especially as I get older, and as you say, like see things in them that I can only see after I've been through, like a lot of the things that one goes through later in life, like you recognize and feel the pull of a lot of their lessons that would be either unbelievable or invisible to you as a kid playing through them.
I like how all that was derived by us just seeing him walk in with a little bit of a disgruntled look.
Sometimes it's all it takes.
Hell yeah.
And let that not go unsaid. Like the level of detail to the animation and representation of characters in a game like this too. Like I don't think it's an accident that this sort of game invites those considerations just based on little flourishes of the character models and things like that.
Who deserves to be angry at everything? I agree. From what I've heard and experienced, he definitely deserves
Comes by
to
it
be
honestly.
angry.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, no argument there. Where's the rest of the gang? I'm sure
They're
somewhere
sleeping.
outside.
Don't bother them.
No one's sleeping. No one sleeps before the final battle in a Tales game. Everyone is up and wanting to talk to each
They're
other.
just doing something.
That's right. Or spying on each other and want to know what everyone else thinks of them. Maybe they're all outside?
True. They could be outside. Go to the other side, though.
I know. That was the plan.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
We usually are, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, talk to the dog first.
The most important one. It's been a long time since we've been able to relax and enjoy tea together like this. Aw. The playful dog's lively eyes seem to be trying to speak to you.
Aw.
Your mother's been caring for me ever since you boys went away. She's been doting on me as if I were her own child. Oof. But even I find her to be a bit clingy sometimes. That's when I break out with the old quick step and slip on out of here.
Oh my god.
Just like escaping from a monster.
Visions of myself.
That's right. Would you care to join us for some tea?
No.
I have to find everyone else. They must all be outside.
What if you go back and they're all having tea?
Without me?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You said no.
It's true.
You actually said fuck tea. Well, she's planting things.
I feel like Sophie is the most important one to speak to, so I wanted to see if I could find everyone else first.
They just fuck off.
I know, where? This is amazing. They must have just gone out into town, I guess. Not over here.
I would talk to Sophie. Are you gonna try to find them first in the town?
Yeah.
Oh.
Usually in the final battle conversations, you don't get shut out from anyone, but I don't want to risk it. And I'm sure they'll give us the opportunity to speak with Sophie. Malik.
Still awake?
My dad.
Dad.
Yep. Captain Malik, I don't want Sophie or Richard to die. I want to save them both. Is that asking for too much?
I wouldn't be surprised, Grail.
It's important to feel compassion for others if you wish to save them. That is a lesson I learned too late. It's why I couldn't save Kurt.
Notice again the connection with emotions like we were talking about?
I don't want you to face that same regret.
Captain.
Never lose hope, Asbel. We can do this. We will do this. Let's just make sure everyone comes back safely.
Yes, sir.
Love him. We can do this. We will do this.
Good. Positivity.
And he is in a certain
Was
way.
she on the other side?
Yeah,
that's
there might be someone over there. In a certain way, he is like the dad Asbel chose because, well, certainly he's, since his biological dad's death, developed a different relationship with his dad. When he did run away and leave Lant and join the Knights, it was Malik who mentored him and taught him, and in many ways took that role of a father figure for him.
You
So
are
it's
my dad.
Worth honoring
You're
that
my
too.
dad.
That's right. Figuratively. No,
Ooh.
what the fuck?
Sharia?
Ah, we're
Yeah,
eavesdropping.
this guy.
Bailey, what are you doing up?
He's
Is this
like a
Sim?
member of the Lant Guard, I think. Yeah,
Are you really leaving tomorrow?
he's been around from the beginning.
Yes, and don't try to stop me. It won't work.
Yes. Well, actually,
Oh.
see, when all this is over, I was wondering if...
Everybody wants to get with Sharia, except for Asbel.
Yes? What is it?
I
well,
made
it's
you
just-
this ribbon.
That's right.
Come now, Bailey. Tell the poor girl what you're really thinking.
Who the hell is Raymond?
The former hand of Hubert in the Stratton military.
I'm sorry, what's going on here?
And I think their cousin.
Miss Sharia, please hear me. I am mortified by the horrible things I did.
I also love you.
Oh, well, that's all in the past, and
Your forgiveness shames me. Ever since you healed me, I have waited for the day when I could repay you.
Oh no.
I beg
Oh,
of you,
no.
when this is over, come back to Strata with me.
This is a hilarious motif in the Tales series that I had not realized until I was playing through the games recently. But like, in more cases than you would hope, like 95% of the male NPCs in the world all desperately want to be with the same girl in the party.
I shall build you a home worthy of a princess, and we will live in joy for the rest of our days. You will be a prisoner no more, my love. Instead, I shall be
Oh my
enslaved
god.
by you.
That's the dream.
Wow.
oh my goodness.
That's an appropriate reaction to hearing that.
Run away!
Run.
Bailey, see if your words can sound half as
I'm sorry, I have to go because of the excuse.
See if what? Now, wait, just look.
It's a fair point, Grail. They do know how to shoot their shot at least.
Sharia, I came to ask if you would be the leader of our relief organization.
Oh,
I'm sure that's what you wanted, Bailey.
Of course, I would try to help however I could, so, will you consider it?
Also, I love you. Good day.
Also, I am the relief organization.
But I've had a lot of time to think recently, and I've learned what I truly want from my life.
Ribbons.
Asbel.
And unfortunately, that means I have to turn you both down. I'm sorry.
I suppose it would be rude to ask what it is that you truly want.
I'm sorry.
No one has ever asked me that. Don't do it right now.
Come on, Raymond. Let's go.
Beer.
You embark on a great quest tomorrow, Sharia. You should get some rest.
Thank you, Bailey.
Oh man, defeat.
Take care of her, Asbel.
What score are we gonna give Raymond's proposal?
I mean, he shot his shot, so
10 out of 10 confidence. 2 out of 10 context.
yeah, like 0 out of 10 social awareness.
Oh, God. She's like, I might die tomorrow, and he's like, I will be enslaved to you. And
Right.
she's like, wait.
Okay, bye.
Hey, stop that!
Sorry. So, hey, mind if I ask what you truly want?
I think you know.
Whatever it is, I'd like to help.
Do you?
Asbel,
She said it. She just said Asbel.
what about
good point.
you? What are you going to do when this is over?
Damn, you're right. She did. She was honest.
I want to help Lon get back to normal. And I suppose I'll need to help Sophie.
What about me?
She's had nothing but painful memories her whole life. And now her home is gone on top of it. So I was thinking maybe she could just live here in Lant.
Lol.
Then maybe I could, I don't know,
Thanks.
give her some happy memories.
You said something like that before, right? About how you'd either help her get home or be with her for the rest of your life.
Huh? Yeah. I guess I did say that. But that was a long time ago. And I've learned it's not something I can do on my own. That's why.
Look, I was thinking about continuing the relief work I was doing before. I want to travel the world and help those less fortunate than I.
I see. You really are an angel, Sharia.
Stop it.
All these selfless acts are gonna make me look bad. You know that, right?
Just take care of Sophie. Otherwise, I can't be held responsible for what happens.
I will. I promise.
So, I need to get some sleep. See you tomorrow.
I mean, that is a theme that all of the main, like, male protagonists are, like, dense AF about, social context.
I was trying to even understand it in my head as I was attending to that scene, because like I don't even know if I think of it as dense as like he just doesn't even. We've talked about this on the stream a bit in the past, like protagonists who just don't even operate on that like romantic wavelength, like they're interested in different things out of their relationships. Like I think it's an interesting question, as Grail and Pottery were talking about before, of like, how does Asbel really see and think of Sharia? Because I don't even know if even really like seeing her as a sister or a family member quite tracks for me. More of just like, and maybe this is just another
Friendship
like,
sexual.
or just like the friendship sexual. There you go. But I was thinking also like a similarly like adult and mature way of thinking about it. Just like nothing more than someone who had a special place in his past growing up with him, and so will always be in his life, but who doesn't have like further meaning to him beyond that. Like that connection to his past kind of exhausts what she means to him in a certain way. Like especially in that scene, it just felt like there was a certain distance between them, or a lack of present context that they share, in a way that felt weird. But I think oftentimes, like, think about going back to like a high school reunion or something, right? Like I think there are certain people where you'll always be able to have a connection with them because you shared a context in your past, but that doesn't mean you have some sort of like special persistent relationship with them based on what you're going through in your life at the moment
true.
either.
Sparrow, I believe that you deserve plenty of love bombing.
Oh yeah, Chrissy, I've been thinking of you. Yeah, that's a super fan of With a Terrible Fate, Chrissy, and
Chrissy,
a scholar over in the UK. Yeah, I've been thinking of you since you mentioned that. I hope you're doing all right with everything. And I know I have something of yours to review too. I'm going to be getting to that in the next few days. So thank you for being patient and understanding with me there.
What are you doing, Pascal?
Just tinkering around with an idea.
Ka-chankin'.
Ka-chankin'.
You know how I do.
Can you get that screwdriver for me, Poisson?
Poisson.
You have to fight tomorrow, Pascal. You should get some rest. Yeah, probably. But it's more important that I go into battle without any regrets. So if I gotta stay up all night, then I'll just... Oh, crud. Now I need a wrench. I can finish that for you.
Ah, Fourier.
Fourier. Do you know what a Fourier transform is?
Very vaguely, because I looked up the relative illusions just for this game.
Oh, hell yeah.
But I haven't used any of them in a long time, obviously.
Oh, goodness.
And the distributions attributed to that fellow.
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have been so worried about you.
And the wager attributed to that fellow. That one's from philosophy, so.
Oh, I figured you'd forgotten about me. You totally saved us back when we were in the shuttle. And you looked so cool, too. You were all like, shoop, shoop. Naturally. Who do you take me for? True, true. You are my big sister. If something happened to you, I don't know what I'd do. Pascal, well, I guess someone has to keep an eye on you. Make sure you take baths and the like. Hey, I take 2 baths a week now, whether I need them or not.
Hygienic.
2 baths a week? How can someone be so brilliant in the lab and so clueless everywhere else? Poisson and I will finish up here. You go get some sleep. And take a bath. But, no, but do you know
It's
what
important
later is?
to, you know, like, take a bath and get some warm water on the muscles before a big fight.
It's true, a deep soak.
A nice deep soak.
Absolutely. I'm a huge advocate of that.
Take a bath and get some sleep, or I'll dump a bucket of water on your head and strap you to the bed.
Ah,
Oh, shit.
sisterly love.
You okay, sis?
That's true. So alike in some ways and so different in others. Isn't that just
Pascal.
the case, Grail?
All right then, let's get to work.
What if Poisson just said random
We'll show
shit
the
sometimes?
world what Marcians
Just
are
really
capable
lean
of.
in.
Yes, ma'am. We'll take care of everything. You two just worry about waking up on time. Aw, thanks, guys. I better get to bed. Don't stay up too late, Asbel.
I won't.
I won't, but I have insomnia.
Yeah, the Marcians are very cool. So, like, Poisson is this basically young girl who has become the mouthpiece for the elder of their tribe because the elder, like, doesn't want to publicly interact with anyone anymore or do anything, basically, if she can help it. And Fourier is Pascal's older sister who has always been, like, overshadowed by her brilliant younger sister's research. And so I kind of resented her, but ultimately came to respect her and understand how much that her sister loves her, and has tried to figure out how to better support her over the game. And very cool because we've basically gotten probably on the whole, like, at most, like 90 minutes, if that, of content of interactions between them, and probably less, but it's a relationship where so much is just like in what's unsaid and what it is that we can see them thinking about that's outside the context of the main story, which again, a pretty unusual thing for JRPGs, but a really cool way of dwelling on this.
I like these late night scenes.
Yeah, it's a very special thing that the Tales series is very good at. Yeah, that's a great way of representing the particular sisterly attention that she gives her, isn't that, Grail? Yeah, basically just the discussion of her foreshadowing her before we met her at the lab, and then the interactions with her at her research lab, and then of course the scene where she helped them get off the planet to the foreign planet of Fodra, and then here and now. We'll take care of everything. You just worry about waking up on time. Please get a good night's rest. Yeah, so we can round out these scenes. I think we're just about done, and then we can, speaking of wrap for the evening, and then dive in with Dan on Monday.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think that was everyone but Sophie. Let's see.
Oh,
We have
yeah, you
Asbel,
skipped Sophie.
Then we got Hubert and Sharia and Malik and Pascal. Yeah, so we just have...
The time
Sophie
really
and-
did just fly by.
It did. Well, we had to introduce the new and improved Praxis gang to Matt and give him the grounding.
Thank you guys for accepting me
Yes.
and my complete just lack of understanding.
It's part of
was
what
going
makes
on
it
when I
fun.
started.
And it does fly by. It's you all know that I love the live book clubs with you, but it certainly does add another dimension to it to be hanging out with another analyst in person in the spirit of all the social holiday style gaming we've been talking about and looking
I
forward
promise
to in
I'll
the
write
last few
something
weeks.
again soon.
He will. I know that you will. Or interview or any other form
Dude,
of
you know I've been
media
trying
or
to interview
streaming.
people.
I know. Matt is one of those wonderful people who has a million ideas and a million things he's doing in his life, but whenever he does drop anything for With a Terrible Fate, it is pure gold and worth the wait. So keep an eye out for this one.
Asbel?
It's late, Sophie. What are you doing up?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we'll have plenty of time for side quests when we kick things off on Monday, Grail.
yeah.
I wouldn't worry about that.
When will the Sofarias become a Blossom Gale?
It's a deep just like me vibe, Grail. Bye, Pottery. Great to see you. Hey, you have a great weekend, okay? Hope
Thanks
to
for
see you
hanging
again on
out.
Monday, my dude.
I don't
Always a
know.
pleasure.
We might have to ask my mother. She used to love tending the garden. Although, I don't think she's been here since Dad died. She says there's no one left to enjoy the flowers. I never knew my father liked flowers at all.
Can I ask something? Are you sad that your father died?
It's complicated. I've been avoiding thinking about it. His death meant that we never got the chance to understand each other. I'm sure we'd have been able to if he was still around. So, yeah. You could say I'm sad about that. I guess I'm better at solving other people's problems than dealing with my own.
Main protagonist vibes.
Just like me for real.
Dude, I've been watching Star
Once
Trek
everything's
Discovery
over,
and it's like
we'll
the
come
same.
back here.
Oh, is that right?
Maybe then we'll be able to see the Blossom Gale.
Yeah, she is daddy.
When we come back,
Yeah. So we have to make sure we survive, right?
That is an intense stare.
Yeah, the way they animate people looking at each other in this game is really thoughtful and illuminating to me.
I want to see the Blossom Gale with you. I mean it.
I know. I'd like that too. It's really late. You should get some sleep.
What about you?
I'll sleep soon. I promise. Good night, Sophie.
Okay. Good night.
Didn't sleep.
How could you the night before confronting a villain that threatens the entire world? Talk about recipe for insomnia.
We're all coming back.
It really, you know what it almost reminds me of? And perhaps this is part of what keeps it to me as so distinctive amongst JRPGs, Grail. It almost strikes me as like one of those old school sort of like Victorian novels or something, where like all of the plot is really just in characters reflecting on
In
and evolving. And,
conversations
yeah,
between
like
them,
their
yeah.
perceptions of their relationships. Like there's barely any movement from point A to point B, but there's such an epic art in terms of just coming to understand each other in different ways, which I would venture is very unusual of modern video games and JRPGs, but this represents with pretty high fidelity.
All of us, including Sophie and Richard. Is it really so crazy to hope?
Yes.
I was thinking about this too because, I mean, we've already talked a lot about Sophie as a symbol for understanding like the process of what it is to become human and reflect on humanity. It's like you have to laugh when she's asking these very basic questions about, oh, when your dad died, were you sad? But in an interesting way, it kind of kicks me back to like a seminar that I had, I think sophomore year, on the philosophy of emotion. It was the first time I ever heard that there even was a philosophy of emotion, but it's a really interesting and I would say unintuitive subfield of philosophy because it basically takes this thing that we almost all think of as a very immediate and transparent experience to us, like the experience of an emotion, and tries to intellectually interrogate and deconstruct it and say, like, okay, what is actually the nature and the implications of an experience like anger or happiness, and what is the value in it, and how does it reflect our capacity to see and interact with the world? And I think just that perspective of interrogating things that we take for granted as our own nature, or even things that we assume to be outside our control, and asking, how does that really shape us? Like, that's a big part of what like philosophical and mystic and even religious traditions are concerned with. I think a lot of people don't do that work, and the way in which Sophie like prompts these kids to on their own journey, I think is part of what helps them to end up in this mature state that we've been talking and thinking about.
Sounds like being in a relationship.
Shit, you're right.
Well, no, but we're like your
No,
own
you're right, you're right,
personal
you're right,
experiences
yeah.
and the way that you
Yep.
thought about things are challenged by someone that is like deeply intertwined with the way that you're personally experienced in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and so often I think that's a great point of comparison because like oftentimes when it's just us going through our lives in the world, it's easy to end up in a kind of solipsistic perspective where we just think that our experience is self-evident and self-affirming. That's
yeah.
right. And it's really not until you're like cohabiting an experiential space with someone, whether or not you're literally living with them, that then that other person who wants to know and relate themselves to you asks questions like, what are you feeling as we're going through this right now? And like,
Or,
why
like,
is
why
it
is
that
this
you're feeling this
bothering
way?
you?
Right. And it can be really kind of like initially it can feel like an affront to have your emotions confronted in that way, but to have to interrogate and unpack that oftentimes can like, in a healthy context, like lead you to understand your own like mode of perception in a way that would otherwise be invisible to you.
Look where this game has led us.
I know, I love it. And Grail, I love the point that you're saying too. Like it's not even that you don't make a lot of progress in this game. It's like you're constantly trying to make progress and you never actually manage to achieve it with these characters, but you achieve it through ways other than the goal that they were setting out to do. In a similar way to what we're talking about now, where like the friction of a relationship and sort of failing to achieve what you were trying to can actually lead to very productive insights in the longer term in terms of your self-concept. All right, I think that was the conversations with all the characters, so I think we can rest now.
And head into the final battle on Monday.
That's well, I have a feeling the side content will probably keep us occupied. I think we rest upstairs.
Hey, go to your own bed, you freak. Just kidding. Go have tea with Hubert's mom.
It's on my list, Grail. Yeah, since you mentioned it the last time, because I would very seriously, speaking of understanding ourselves through others' perspectives, I would love a way into fighting games through your eyes. Have you heard of this, Matt? Grand Blue Fantasy
No, I
versus
haven't.
Rising. Grail has said that if you're someone who is interested in fighting games but have basically no experience in serious fighting games, this is the way to get into the genre. So I would love to try that out at some point. Maybe we can even try it because it's a fighting game, so I assume it's multiplayer, right, Grail? Maybe we can even try it
This
while
is
the
the
game
choice
is
that
here.
I make all the time. And I always go with stay up a bit longer.
And nothing bad ever comes of it.
Yeah.
Someone's late?
Sorry, I didn't realize everyone else was here.
You slept okay?
We should get going.
Thanks, Dad.
Look. They've come to see us off. Please be careful. All of you.
And don't worry about us. We'll be fine.
We shall humbly wait your return.
Good luck, everyone. We'll be praying for your safety. Do what you must and then get back here. And don't you dare die on me.
Travel well, young
That's what I say to
masters.
the mice.
Oh God,
Thanks, everyone.
morbid.
All right, we're off to the Lostalia.
It has last in the name, so if you know, you know. The Guardia Shaft. Oh, and everyone got new titles.
Hell yeah.
Well, we can look at those quickly, and that'll be a nice title-themed way of marking off the stream. Steadfast young man. Still uncertain of what the future holds, he heads off toward the final battle.
Empty head, no thoughts. Battle.
Really, it's like, well, actually, funny enough, we started way back at the beginning of this stream with the idea of beginner's mind, which is another Buddhist concept, the idea of, like, especially as you become more experienced in a field, like, approaching every day with an aspect of just, like, good-natured curiosity and not resting on your laurels of what you've come to assume from your expertise can be, like, the best way
I've
of
been
being
taught
present
that
in
in
the moment.
school many a time.
There you go.
Or just life.
I think Asbel is that perfect kind of representation of the beginner's mind.
Wishmaker.
What wish did she make upon the tiny flowers? Will the answer be found through the battle? Oh, so kind of pointing to the expectations of what the characters are hoping to get from the battle.
Yeah.
That's interesting and cool because I feel like it's pretty rare in these title descriptions for us to get forward-looking titles that expect something to come in the story that hasn't happened yet. Usually it's instead to mark an occasion that has just transpired. So another dimension in the many dimensions of title storytelling here. Though an Oswell in name, in heart, it's not so simple.
That is true.
Dream chaser, she flatly denies any man who approaches her. Such is the resolve of a woman in pursuit of a dream. Her dream being a different man.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Watchful steward, watching over his companions, he promises himself that he'll live on to see their dreams fulfilled. Love it.
Dad.
The ultimate dad and pride of the
I thought that
Avarcian.
said Pride of America for a
That,
second.
we have made that joke many a time.
Okay.
It's too close not to.
Yeah.
She bears the weight of the pride of her clan, the light of all life, and her sister's love. Wow, multifaceted. Well, we'll definitely have to try out these games, Grail. Yeah, thank you. Giving us plenty more to do this weekend. Oh, well, my dear friends, a wonderful Friday stream as ever.
This was
Matt,
lovely.
dear honored guest, my friend, any final thoughts? I know you'll be back on Monday. So
Yeah,
no
I'm excited to
final
come
thoughts.
back on
Yeah.
Monday. Let's leave it for that.
All right.
We'll have Dan, who is much smarter than me
That's not true.
in all things thinking. But I'm here.
He's humble on top of
I'm
everything
here to
else.
give
Can
the
you
common
believe it?
man's perspective.
Oh, friends, it's such a pleasure. Regulars know that I frequently and obsessively extol the virtue of a real-life JRPG party in terms of the diversity of perspectives and modes of engagement we all bring to these discussions as we go on our journeys through these games. And it's so special to me not only to be able to do that with all of you, but to be able to bring in-person dear friends of mine and incredible thinkers and gamers in their own right onto these adventures and live book clubs with me. So yes, can't wait to see you on Monday again, brother. I hope you enjoyed the added texture to the stream. I know I've said it before, there's going to be even more the texturer
So
on
much
Monday.
texture.
Yeah, with a third fellow in the mix. We'll see if we can all cram into the lens of the webcam in a well-fit way. But that'll be the deep lore suspense of whether we can make it work or not. Yes, the cloning has worked step 1, so that's the real question. On step 2, will we be able to split into another copy?
The question is, who
I have a good
splits?
feeling about it. Half of both of us?
Oh, you're
Split
right,
and then
and they
merge?
fuse?
Yeah, I like
Okay.
that.
Shit.
Dear friends, I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you think well and game well. Grail, Pottery, Chrissy, so great seeing you again. As always, Doug, it was really a pleasure to have you back, my friend. Was sorry to see you missing for a while. So nice to have you back. Better late than never. Hope to see you again on Monday. We'll be back, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. As you can see, as we're winding to the first primary conclusion of Tales of Grace's F. There are plenty incredible threads coming together, not only in terms of the insights we've gleaned over the past 60 hours, but even in terms of sufficiently universal lessons that we can bring in thoughtful gamers who are completely out of context and have rich conversations about them. So how about that?
Thanks for accepting me into the fray.
Any day, you know that. All right, my friends, you have a great one. Be good to yourselves. We'll see you again on Monday. Till then, cheers.
Cheers.